The liveness check has since been built into the system to prevent any such future occurrence.
The Electoral Commission has admitted that the voter register is riddled with irregularities and flaws. I dare say, Mr. Speaker, the scale of these irregularities is such that someone may have tampered with the voter register database. Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry to say that we cannot vouch for the integrity of the voter register as it stands at the moment. The details of these irregularities are so fatal and cannot be accepted. We therefore demand a forensic audit into the voter register database.
I would want to plead with my respected colleagues to say that the Electoral Commission's register for the 2024 election is not credible, it's very rich. Where we identify challenges, let's take these challenges on board. Let's not attack the Electoral Commission and erode the confidence that people have in the Electoral Commission and our democracy.
I took the decision that that would be a betrayal of the trust that the Ghanaian people put in me on the 7th of January this year. And as a result, we established this committee within the government to design a policy for us, not just to stop it, to reclaim the land, to let our rivers work again, but also to see how we can figure a way for all these able-bodied young men who are involved in this activity to find an alternative livelihood. So it's a package. It's a package that we have designed to try and bring this menace to a conclusion. I've said it in the cabinet, and perhaps this is the first time I'll be saying it in public. I am prepared to put my presidency on the line on this matter. I've heard it being said that I should be careful. Many of these people voted for me, and if I continue this exercise, perhaps they will not vote for me again. If by the grace of God I'm in a position, my party allows me to go again, and I have the health and everything to go again, that I'll not get it again. And I'll say to myself, well, this is a choice that all of us have to make as human beings. You do what you think is right, or do you do what you think will allow you to get along? I think that you do what you think is right. That is what you're required to do.
The president must be called upon to end galamsey now. The president must commit to himself. He must make a public declaration on radio and television, giving us a fixed date on which the following may be done. All equipment and machinery at galamsey sites must be removed immediately. And if I say immediately, I mean now, or not later than 7 days. The president must apologize to the nation for his failure to end the galamsey fight. 3, the president must do the honorable thing by resigning in accordance with the statement he made, that he was putting his 8-year rule on the line, that if he could not end the galamsey fight, the price he will pay will be to leave office. He should exit now because he has failed. No one should tell him that he has failed. He knows he has failed, and he must do the honorable thing by resigning. If he does not resign, it is going to affect his running mate, Bawumia. We know, if you don't know, I know, that Bawumia is not in control. The people who are in control are those we do not vote for. The president knows the people who are in control. Lest Ghanaians be taken for a ride. If the galamsey activity is not ended by the current president, who is also the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, the MPP must be voted out of power come December 7th. I will repeat, if the president is unable to deal with the galamsey menace, latest by the end of September 2024, the MPP must be voted out of power. And who?
Well, that's the verdict of the former director of the Ghana School of Law. That's the man you just heard there. Sorry. In fact, it's a verdict that a number of you share, that there must be some political cost to the failed fight against illegal mining in this country. Because this matter is not just environmental, it is political, much more so, and then also a social matter. But this morning, in the midst of everything that we talk about, we hope that this period of the renewed focus on illegal mining, galamsey, and its attendant effects and devastation will not only be another season of no action, talk only, NATO, on this galamsey menace, because we've seen it before. We've talk, while the problems get worse by the day. We've seen not too long ago what happened in Konongo. Now the galamsey operators are emboldened to even mine close to the roadside. They are not even in the thick forest again. They are not in the middle of the forest, or they're doing so under the cover of darkness. They are doing it in the full glare of authorities who are supposed to be checking. No action, talk only. Hopefully, this is not a season of NATO. Something has to be done differently, because we are losing our water bodies. Ghana Water Company says they are only able to process and distribute just about 40% of the water that they receive to all of us. And the turbidity levels in even the water that they are even processing for all of us is so high. It's supposed to be 2,000. But now they are having to deal with waters that have been polluted as much as 14,000 turbidity levels. How possible is that? Their treatment plants are breaking down. And we are seated here. And we know that when the last tree dies, the last man dies. We're destroying our forests. We know that water is life. We are destroying our water bodies. And we're just here. We can only provide this platform to speak truth to power. But beyond that, action must be taken. We'll have a conversation this morning, a dispassionate one as that, on illegal mining in this country. We're seeing it. We'll talk about it here on Key Point, as always. Welcome. Now, is there really a fight, or has there ever been a fight against illegal mining in this country? That's what one of my guests who will be joining me sent me last night. So we would have a conversation. The Ghana Water Company Limited would also be joining us to tell us how bad the situation is as we move ahead. Also coming up next, here on Key Point, the Electoral Commission has admitted to some errors in the compilation, in fact, the voter exhibition exercise, for that matter, during that period of the exhibition. Some transferred votes that have created some concerns, especially for the NDC, that has been looking into this quite closely. The EC addressed the press this week, said they inadvertently added some votes over a 2 to 3 year period. It has been identified and rectified. They said they've introduced what they call the liveliness check to ensure this does not happen again. The NDC met the Electoral Commission yesterday. They presented their issues to them. The Electoral Commission still holds a position. The NDC is calling for a forensic audit by an external body so as to deal with the element of mistrust and suspicion about this register that we're going into this election with. The Electoral Commission thinks otherwise. They are not the only stakeholders going into this. But what do the others think? We'll have a conversation this morning because there was that meeting and this outcome. The NDC presented some sort of their observation and the evidence they took. We have copies of that. We'll display as we go on here on Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. This and many others are the key issues that are of concern to you, the Ghanaian people, and we'll go straight to the point here on Key Point. Welcome. My name is Alfred Ocansey. We're back shortly. My guests will join me. We'll have a conversation. Stay with us.
Season. Enjoy the best football moments with your guy, GoTV. Get your GoTV today to enjoy all the best football live on SuperSport. GoTV.
Luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you can get 8K. Get back packing from your one lie.
Hey, wait. You go put it on his tab. This is my man. Good luck.
Hey, we'll be ready. We are star 712. Someone dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
Maybe straight to option 4. Now, you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random tickets. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
there, tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. T&Cs apply.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
What exactly is going on with the meter replacement that is causing a lot of displeasure among your customers?
We have identified over 1 million plus meters that are overage and are not performing well.
At this rate, ECG is not a profitable business.
Is that your opinion or the opinion of the Auditor General?
Based on what is on the paper.
But if you do the profit and loss accounting, what did he say? We've had people who, when you give them meters, they tamper with the meter. We've had people who try and move the cables at the back of the meter. In fact, we have people who envisage that they will steal.
What could government be doing now to help ECG?
The energy sector or the power sector's problem is a financial model problem.
Hot Issues shows Sundays at 2 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news. The most comprehensive election coverage.
Top-notch presenters and well-versed analysts.
Dedicated reporters and correspondents in every nook and cranny across the country.
All the action, every incident reported. All the big stories covered.
All facts cross-checked. Every figure verified.
Every vote monitored and accounted for.
The numbers tallied, analyzed, and interpreted.
We have invested time and energy in order to bring you a comprehensive elections coverage.
The whole world will be watching us on TV, online, and radio.
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results.
Nana Kwakura.
This week on Ghana's Most Beautiful, Team Koki takes a bold step forward. They are tackling the tough issues, shattering barriers, and unleashing innovative solutions that empower a generation. Don't miss the fire, the passion, and the fearlessness. Join the journey as they share their stories, challenge the status quo, and empower change. Ghana's Most Beautiful, Ghana's Beauty, Africa's Pride.
GMB is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix,
Techno Camon 30,
AT, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup, Key Soup, GTP,
Kivo 4-in-1 Curry Mix, Kivo 100% Natural Hot Pepper,
NLA Good Causes Foundation.
This week, on this episode of Kitchen Wars, we're traveling into the Middle East. The task is tricky.
We are coming to show you what we are capable of doing.
Hey, we are not just beautiful, we also have the kitchen skills.
We are not joking, we are taking everything.
Oh yes.
By step and different methods of cooking.
Just in case your burners are not working, there's fire here.
Yeah.
As many goals as is it going to be the Ashanti region? Is it going to be the Volta region? Or right here in Accra that carries the day?
Kitchen Wars is brought to you by Kivo Foods, Everpack, Mazim Foods, Miss Cookie Spices,
Chana Shito. Hi viewers, my name is Defenzi. Have you heard of Cash Out? Yes, I have won on Cash Out. It all started one day. My wife was telling me about Cash Out. I was like, what at all is this Cash Out? Okay, so I had money in my Momo and I decided to give it a try. Then I left off to work and I got a message. Wow, 5,000 Ghana cedis. Can you imagine? Next week I did it again and I won another 2,000. That same week, my wife also won another 2,000. Cash Out is real. Wow, I'm enjoying. Do you watch TV3? Star 439 hash. Star 439 hash. I will do it over and over again. You too can be a winner.
In a world where stories TV3.
Government can never stop galamsey in this Ghana at all. I have a gold, I have plenty money in my pocket, so I don't mind cocoa. Look, I'm now cutting it off, you see. It is my own bonafide property. Nobody can stop me to stop cutting my own cocoa tree. Are you planting for me? Planting for you food and job, am I involved?
If we are to look and investigate, you polluted the water more than us. You polluted the water more than us.
At all. I have a gold, I have plenty money in my pocket, so I don't mind cocoa. Look, I'm now cutting it off, you see. It is my own bonafide property. Nobody can stop me to stop cutting my own cocoa tree. Are you planting for me? Planting for you food and job, am I involved?
If we are to look and investigate, you polluted the water more than us. You polluted the water more than us.
Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We know that we are very, very interactive here on Key Point. As always, share your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions with us. We read out to you and to the rest of the world. And just to also remind you that we are live on a number of radio stations across the country. I would be mentioning as we go on the Western, Eastern, the Northern, Upper West, Upper East regions, and then also in the Ashanti region. So please stay with us. My guest will be joining me now in a bit, and we'll have a conversation. In fact, that video, just for the benefit of those listening to us on radio, that statement by The majority chief whip in this 8th parliament, who is the member of parliament for the Nsoma Madridri constituency, Frank Anodompre, generated a lot of conversation and reactions from you, the members of the general public. It was one of the key issues this week. So we'll sink our teeth briefly into it. And this is when the matter of illegal mining became topical on the floor of Parliament. And unfortunately, it was subjected to this needless, unnecessary MPP-NDC equalization. And now we're now going to compete as to who polluted our waters the most. That's where we are. What you're seeing there is the Pra River, the state of the Pra River. That's been the constant reference point to the latest conversation on illegal mining. You know, we've gone through this cycle of conversation on illegal mining over the period. It's just been a period of no action and talk only. Just talk, we move on to the next issue. But this time around, a number of you have proposals as to how we can ensure that we all don't die as a result of illegal mining. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that we are all at risk. If you thought that this is so far away from you, because when we talk about illegal mining, previously it was in the forest, destroying forest cover, exposing all of us to the elements of climate change. We didn't talk about it that much, or we didn't think that it was so close. Now, water bodies destroyed so much that the Ghana water even doesn't have enough water to process for us. Their treatment plants are breaking down. That's the reality of the problem that we're faced with. In the midst of it all, we think that playing politics with it is the most sensible thing to do, while the water bodies get destroyed. My guest will be taking a seat now, but let's start out with Adam Sedan, who is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, because this matter has many legs. To have a conversation on this, I'll also be joined by the returnee, Martin Pebu, who's a private legal practitioner. He's a leader of one of 3 individual bond leader groups. And he's joining us in the studio today after a long period of the sojourning beyond the shores of this country. Also, Nano Heninto is a former General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. He is now the senior advisor to the leader for the Movement for Change, Alan Kojo Chamanting. We would also have the Asante Achim North Member of Parliament on the ticket of the MPP, the Honorable Andiapi Akubi, also joining us. Have a conversation on this. Now, thank you so much for joining us here on Key Point. First of all, I mean, how did this statement and how things played out in Parliament, I mean, how members of Parliament, our representatives, decided to start the conversation on this illegal mining, comparing how either of them have polluted the waters, and that statement by the majority chief whip. Zano.
Outrageous and irresponsible. Stop behaving like children, small boys in a football park, you know, making a trivial banter out of this. You were elected to take action, elected to promote the best interests of citizens. You don't come and say, your group, what not? Is that why they're in Parliament? They think that's what we want to hear on TV and radio? Absolute nonsense. It doesn't make sense. It absolutely doesn't make sense. Look at the level of the crisis. You see, if you're making this statement, and maybe at the time it was not correct, maybe you would want to just say, let them go. But at this point, 14,000 turbidity. And they are talking when our system is not even supposed to be doing 2,000. Ceiling of 1,000, 1,005. and you are here joking around with it. This kind of insensitivity to the feelings of citizens must stop. And they should stop just patting each other's backs and trying to make this as if it's not an important thing for Ghanaians. We need to take immediate action now. They should not forget that this president put his presidency on the line if he didn't deal with this thing. At this point, if you're talking about integrity, if you're talking about people who mean what they say, we should see him taking some action. What it meant was that I will step down if I'm not going to get results. And they are not talking about that. They are saying what? You made it more dirty or what? You made it more poisonous. And it is something funny. And people don't see anything wrong with that. Highly outrageous and irresponsible behavior. We didn't elect them so they'll come back and be giving us talk back on things that are not what brings solutions. Let's get real. And let our leaders behave like mature people in this country.
Responsible comment, you describe it, and you say we get such commentary, from leadership. And that brings me to the next question, whether leadership has been shown in this fight against illegal mining in this country. Yes, I know.
You know, we say everything thrives on leadership, falls and rises on leadership. Leadership is cause, everything else is effect. Good leadership means that you bring people around, you brainstorm, you get the solutions, you implement. If they don't work, you modify them. You, by all means, get to a point. But this one is clearly a human behavior issue. This is not about a lack of capacity to enforce and make sure it is not that. There are so many other jurisdictions. You see it online. People are doing comparisons that the laws, the policies, and the enforcement are working. And the only reason why it would not be working in Ghana is because there are people who are complicit and they are conflicted and they are refusing to act. In other countries where people have integrity and they value ethics, when you're not able to perform, you just say, I will resign. Let other people come in and rethink this and let's see what we can do. Now we have people who will just sit there, they're not getting us the results. They want to do comparisons. Is that serious behavior? Is that what leadership in this country has been reduced to? I think we should all make sure that they know that we are very displeased with this kind of attitude and talk. They need to apologize to us. And if they assume that when another party comes, then that too will be acceptable. All of them, whether on the majority side or the minority side, to curtail this kind of absolutely unacceptable behavior. Maybe they are living in another country.
And you see, in the end, anyway, it's some 30 minutes after 7 here on Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. Kofi Adams is Member of Parliament for the Boem constituency. He's on a number of committees in Parliament. He's joining us in the studio. Mr. Adams, good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning to you, and good morning to lawyer Martin Baby.
Good morning.
It's been a while. It's good to have you.
That's true.
Also, for the first time in the studio in the last at least 1 month, lawyer Martin Pebo, is private legal practitioner. He's a passionate Ghanaian for that matter. And he has inked his name in the jurisprudence in this country, contributing his quota to shaping the legal system in this country in many ways. Lawyer Martin Pebo, good morning. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Ocansey.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. That's right. It's good to take a rest once in a while, right? Yeah, so let me do the normal custom. Let me say a brief good morning to Gamanche, Kentucky ni Teko True. Yes, as I always say, we should be lauding Gamanche for wading into the Sicily Adapa matter. You see, now he's dead. Gamanche was the last person to have commented. So what are we doing? Of course, we have a lawsuit in the court, okay, against the Attorney General, that warped interpretation where they want to use to free Sicily Adapa. That one is a different matter. We can't talk much about that one here. But as citizens, you are free. You are free to continue to comment about the Sicily Adapa matter. We have to express our probium, our highest disgust that one person can have so much money in her bedroom. And today, business is going on as usual, as if nothing happened. Is that the kind of country we want to have?
Now, what's the latest on that case? I know that the money has been returned. Those monies that were seized by the special prosecutor, it's been returned to Sicily Adapa, right?
Yeah, that's
so.
Correct.
She has the liberty to have spent it by now.
Yes, legally, yes, in theory. But I hope that she'll be wise to preserve it because we are coming for it. When the case, hopefully, we should win that case, and then the investigations and possibly criminal prosecution will continue. Because everywhere, they will tell you that as soon as you see money beyond somebody's income, you should be thinking money laundering straight. Yet the Attorney General is foisting a certain warped interpretation on us that, no, we need a predicate offense. What predicate offense? You see somebody with plenty money like this, the law has been amended to make it easy. Once the money is beyond your income, we should be going in the direction of money laundering. And the Attorney General wants to force us into a certain corner. You know, subsequently, the leak tape shows you the kind of deals he's been doing.
I see, but then again, for me, what I want to find out is, so the special prosecutor conducted a lifestyle audit, correct?
Yes.
And that position that you take, that if by evidence, at least what we see, somebody's lifestyle is much more than what the person earns as a public officer.
That's correct.
And the lifestyle audit has been conducted. What was the evidence of the lifestyle audit, the result of that lifestyle audit after the special prosecutor did that? Did it confirm that indeed this person was living beyond her means?
Okay, so, excuse me. There are parts of it that I remember she refused to answer the questions. The sources of income, part of it.
Right.
So I don't think the audit was quite complete. Okay. However, from her statements, the investigations that were conducted, you know, she said she was doing cosmetic business, etc. So the special prosecutor, Mr. Jabin, went on to it, and it turned out that the businesses didn't belong to her.
Right.
So that is what showed that, oh, then it means the money is not yours. Then at a point, she said the $1 million belonged to her deceased brother. Then that one, when they went into it, they saw that, no, the deceased brother, without disrespect to shoemakers, couldn't have made that much money. And even the deceased brother's wife sought to sue her. Then she backtracked. So at least, even though she didn't complete the lifestyle audit, as far as I'm aware, the last time the special prosecutor came out on this matter, it was clear that where she said she got the money from, it turned out to be false. So there's no way she's going to have this money. No, not as long as some of us live. This fight will continue forever. Yes.
And
yes.
It's one that we'll also keep an eye and see how things play out. And very interestingly, how things are going as we speak.
Yes.
The Honorable Andy Appiah-Kubi is Member of Parliament for the Asante Achim North constituency. He is joining us on Zoom. He had a little issue, so he's unable to join us in the studio. But thankfully, he's joining us on Zoom. Ms. Appiah-Kubi, good morning. Thank you for joining us here on Key Point.
Good morning. I hope you're good.
We're doing well. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope you're well and you're sorting out the issue.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Great. And as we go on as well, Nano Henninto is going to be joining us in a bit. We'll have a conversation. But to give you an idea of the seriousness of the issue we're dealing with, and I know we all do, I mean, over the period, at least the last 7 years, galamsey conversations became topical because the president put out a statement. And I think that upon listening to it this week, I told some colleagues of mine that maybe the media's narrative of that statement also may have communicated something different. Because I want us to listen to what the president said. Because there's a difference between a definitive statement of, I am putting my presidency on the line, plus what he actually said that he is prepared to do so. So I had a number of people asking me questions whether he actually did so. Right? But take a look at this.
I took the decision that that would be a betrayal of the trust that the Ghanaian people put in me on the 7th of January this year. And as a result, we established this committee within the government to design a policy for us, not just to stop it, to reclaim the land, to let our rivers work again, but also to see how we can figure a way for all these able-bodied young men who are involved in this activity to find an alternative livelihood. So it's a package. It's a package that we have designed to try and bring this menace to a conclusion. I've said it in the cabinet, and perhaps it's the first time I'll be saying it in public. I am prepared to put my presidency on the line on this matter. I've heard it being said that I should be careful. Many of these people voted for me, and if I continue this exercise, perhaps they will not vote for me again. If by the grace of God I'm in a position, my party allows me to go again, and I have the health and everything to go again, that I'll not get it again. And I'll say to myself, well, this is a choice that all of us have to make as human beings. Do you do what you think is right, or do you do what you think will allow you to get along? I think that you do what you think is right. That is what you're required to do.
Certainly, and that's a statement that I'm sure all of us here on the table do agree with the president on. You do what is right, and not what would just let you get along. But whether he did so or not, at least we saw some evidence of some good development, at least with our water bodies getting cleaner when there was a ban on all forms of small-scale mining within that period. But afterwards, getting into the 2020 elections, there was that commentary about, in fact, the statement that he made again, that because of that decision, the party had lost some votes in the mining areas. I think that may have changed the stance and then resulted in the retrogression of the gains that we had made at the time. Quickly.
No, I think that, listen, from day one, he never meant it sincerely. I'm sure by that we all know that President Kufuor has never meant well for this country.
Why do you say he never meant it?
Oh, no, it was just sloganeering. Because, listen, even the fight itself, he was put up to the fight by the media. It's the media that started the fight. So he joined later. So for a president who is sleeping on the job and then the media start a fight. I remember those days, Bernard Avle, you guys here were pushing and pushing. So it's the media, and then eventually, so it was individual journalists, as far as I'm concerned, that's where I observed it, who started. You see, I've mentioned Bernard Avle, yourselves, and etc. Then later, the media coalition came on. Before President Kufuor joined. So he was a reactionary figure in the whole thing. And he just came for the headlines, just to say, I'm prepared to. This president...
After that statement, some action was taken. There was a ban.
But what else?
And then we saw the result of the ban, didn't we?
He never meant the ban. So the point is that it's the media. So that's Citizenry, of course. The media, you are the fourth estate of the realm, okay? Yes, so you started, and then he joined. So such a person who joined a bandwagon, you know, sometimes somebody starts a good idea, you get many followers, but they don't quite understand it. And time has proven that he didn't understand the bandwagon he joined, because he never had any political will to execute what he's saying. I'm sure by now we all can confidently say, over 8 years, you see that this is a president who you can't point to anything that you can say that, listen, this man speaks from conviction. He speaks with conviction. This is his passion. No, you don't see. Because even free SHS, now we see that time is shown that they roll back funding. As we speak now, free SHS is just funding about what, 26%? The last time Kofi Asare did the analysis. So over 70% is borne by parents. Meanwhile, if you look at the beginning of it, the funding was greater. Then as the years went by, he rolled back. So I can confidently say, and we can analyze the so many policies, that Akufo-Addo is not somebody who can walk his talk. He thrives on slogans. Now we can say so with hindsight of over 7.5 years. Where is the legacy? It's gone. The only legacy that he's very proud of and is confident about is that his family has become rich. His family has become rich. The largesse of the public purse. He's come to transform his family. They were struggling. Today, his family is rich.
Evidence of the fact
that is it. But we borrow, and Oforiatta makes his card from data bank. Later, his daughters, the ambulance. There are more deals. Look, when Akufo-Addo leaves office, you see more contracts that his family benefited from. So that one, we can say boldly that yes, the legacy you can paint on Akufo-Addo is that here is a president who came, brought family and friends. The very thing he said he was not going to do. He did a U-turn and brought so many family members, and they looted us as if there's no tomorrow. Looted us, I mean, to pub.
So you hear Kennedy there was no commitment, even
no, I'm very sure of it.
To the fact that at least a decision was taken by the president, and we saw results.
Well, no, that one we call it in the natural course of events. So you see, where the whole public is going in a certain direction, generally, he had at that time, he had just come. So he thought that, okay, he could ride along. But later he saw that no, for his parochial interest, he doesn't have to follow the public interest, okay? He can do his parochial interest whilst we do the public interest. And that's why it's shown. The last time Abu Jinapo, I remember 3 days ago, Joy FM raised him online. He was struggling to defend it and now was beginning to get arrogant. He did too. Abu Jinapo had always spoken well, enthusiastically, very respectful. But the last time, because you see that over time, he's not been able to see the implementation of a policy to stem galamsey. He was getting very arrogant. I was like, you see? Yeah, now saying that nobody can tell him things. The president is giving him the mandate. Nobody can tell him anything. I was like, nobody can tell you. Even the president. You are all to serve us. So citizens can tell you if it's not going right. So that's what I knew. And then they promised, you know what happened? So Joy with somewhere and they said, Raymond Appa. They asked him to speak to them the next day. He dodged. Then the following day, so now they are going to look for a pack of, half truths and half convincing matters and bring out later. So it's very clear. Look, citizens, let's be very clear. Akufo-Addo is shown 7.5 years that the only thing he's committed to is his family getting rich out of the public purse. That one, each time we borrowed, data bank made their share. That's why it's very consistent. But you see the galamsey one, they deployed Vanguard. Of course, the military too later got corrupt. They were also feeding off the illegal mining, so we had to disband them. And that's how come sometimes, even though we don't like this poor governance, when people say the military should step in, then we are like, hey, this same military, you remember a champion for Tubeji Golf, all those excesses. So maybe we should go on like this. If we pour onto the streets, but citizens, mass action, maybe we can get results. Throw off this duopoly. Kofi Adams and the MPP. Then let us also take over as citizens. Maybe try something else. Because as for politicians, you can't trust them that much. Except that Mr. Adams' party, so far, from Akufo-Addo's performance, looks like they are a lesser evil. At least Mohammed's corruption, this track record, democracy, freedom of the press, etc. is better than Akufo-Addo. That's all.
There's a statement that you've made, and Mr. Adams, I'll come to you. And I'll come to you in a bit, and we're trying to fix the Zoom quickly. But that statement about if there's lack of political will, as has been exhibited, how about the citizens' willingness as well to get into this? Because we have seen the devastation of illegal mining. At least the media reports it every now and then. If the politician has failed,
Yeah.
how about citizens? The last time I remember there was a demonstration on this matter, I could count the number of people on the street.
Excellent. Yeah.
So that citizen involvement and we the people also taking up this, because we are all affected. In fact, we are the most affected by this. How about that?
Yes, very, very key. That's the thing. It's about the citizenry. You see, the politicians are a reflection of us. They are a microcosm of the citizenry. There is a deficit in our society, integrity deficit. Most of us want to beat the system. Most of us want to cheat. That's our nature. So lots of people don't want to step up to fight. Because this thing is very clear. Listen, when we analyze this thing, you go straight to the heart of it, you see that this is a very complex matter. But one of the four areas, or one of the main areas it brings to fore is that, listen, we need to change our policing system in the constitution, right? Because as we speak now, it's a culture of impunity. Mr. Ocansey, you are aware that Adam Senanu, myself, Dr. Ashigbe, and Kwame Esidu Sapon, we reported Chairman Wuntmi and Akunta Mining to the CID on 13th of October 2022. Today, this is September, right? Just 1 month more, then we'll get 2 full years, right? Yes, we reported Chairman Wuntmi and Akunta Mining to the CID. What is Madam Ando Kofi doing? She's playing hanky-panky with the complaint.
What was the last update they gave to you?
The last, no update for over a year now. The last time we wrote to Madam Ando Kofi, that's the CID boss, was in April. She hasn't called us. And it also goes to IGP's desk. IG is also neck deep involved in this whole conspiracy to free Ando Kofi.
How do you know that?
Good. So this is how it happened. We, the four of us, presented our petition to the CID boss. But the media coalition presented their petition to IG. So then IG referred the petition, the same against Chairman Wuntmi. And please, in case you are not aware, Chairman Wuntmi destroyed forest, the Tanon Nimri forest, the size of over 10 football fields. And there are videos. So when we did the petition, we added Erastus Asaridonko's documentary on it, right? So you see pictorial evidence, etc. So the media coalition, they took their petition to IG. Then IG referred it to Madam Ando Kofi. And then they put, at the time, there was this man, Superintendent Nkrumah, then there is Mr. Akpoha, the investigators, etc. 2 years now. Each time you push, then, so we've only had one briefing. In 2 years, one briefing. We went there, then Superintendent Nkrumah said, oh, they are on it, they are on it. They called Wuntmi in and granted him bail quickly, who were never even present. Meanwhile, police know that a lot of the time when you call in the accused or suspect, you like complainant to also come and witness the whole process for transparency. Yes. Yet, the police called in Wuntmi and quickly granted him bail on our blind side. Then months on, later before they told us that, oh, they've called him in, they've taken his statement, and then since there is a hanky-panky, pussyfooting, hanky-panky, pussyfooting. You see how God works. You see the topic is back. So Madam Ando Kofi and IG, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? What is it that you can't prosecute Wuntmi? Especially in view of the fact that this case against Wuntmi, you have Abu Jinapo come on air to say that he never granted any mining lease to Wuntmi to enter the Tanon Nimri forest. Number two, Martin Eisi, also on record, if you just Google them, you will see them, also came on and said, yes, the Minerals Commission didn't advise the minister to give any mining lease. You know, by our law, usually the minister signs the mining lease. So they declare that they didn't do same. So for Minister Power in the same party, that's why I say I liked Abu Jinapo until that speech he did 3 days ago. So Abu Jinapo, if you are listening, I think that your last interview on Joy FM was very shambolic. You sounded very rude. Maybe you should withdraw it. You're a young man, very, very young. In about 3 months, you don't know where it's going. This last statement is not a good thing. So let's go on. Yeah, because I mean, why? I mean, he's our younger brother. We can tell him far younger. So we can tell him. Some of us can even claim to be what? A father to him, right? So if it didn't go well, we'll tell him. Because there are times that he's done very well. Remember the Achimota Forest, the first one that killed. Yes, though they are a bit complicit, but he was very enthusiastic. He kept bringing out information, and it helped a lot. You know, sometimes we come here to debate because we don't have all the information. We say things that are misleading because public officers have held information. But that one, the first Achimota debate, not the recent one, he brought out a lot of information and he clarified and showed how Ms. Adams, your party, NDC, those days, you were involved in cannibalizing this Achimota forest. That was good. I'm not supporting equalization, but at least he made it clear that the attempts to sell Achimota forest didn't start with the MPP administration, right? Good. So Mr. Jinapor did very well. So, and I liked him from that time, and I was watching until this interview he did 3 days ago, right? Yeah, so the point is that, listen, he had come out, he says, listen, Chairman Wuntmi and Akunta Mining don't have any mining lease. So what is difficult about this case? In law, we call this open and shut. Open and shut, because very, very easy. When you look under the law, the thing is that were you authorized to mine? If you can't show your mining lease in court, the case is relatively easy. You see Aisha 1. You see eventually when the Aisha 1 case went to court, you see she was convicted because it's paper. The lease is a paper. It's either you have it or you don't. This one, we don't have different shades of gray. The mining lease is not an oral authorization. So it's either you have the paper or you don't have it under the law. You see how Aisha 1 was convicted, tried and convicted, right? So with Abu Jinapor minister making this statement publicly, please, I don't know if the producer can pull it out so that we'll play it. And then Martin Isi also making that Wuntmi and Akunta Mining have no mining lease. So IG and Madam Ando Kofi, what is difficult about this case? What at all is difficult about it? And look, and it's not as if they are seeking the advice of the Attorney General. No. You see, the reason I can say it's not as if they are seeking the advice of the Attorney General is that the last time I heard the Attorney General on radio on this matter, he said he's not aware. You see, because, you know, that was when they issued the Frimpong Boateng report, and we're very upset about it, and also another shambolic report, right, from the Attorney General. So then the journalist asked him that, what about the Chairman Wuntmi case? And he said, no, it's not been brought to his attention. And that's less than a year ago. And we reported this case about 2 years ago. You know, sometimes when the police have difficulty, they present the doctor to the Attorney General to advise. So the last time I heard the Attorney General on this matter, it's not as if the case has been taken to him to advise. So the case is with IG Dampare and Madam Ando Kofi. Please, you are letting us down. If you can't do the job, resign. Resign. There are so many people who can also do this job. Why is that public officers like to protect their offices too much? You think we, as we sit here, we don't suffer? We're also sacrificing. I sit here, I tell you, there are many government jobs. People recommend me. Once they see, they say, oh, this guy is NDC. I'm taking off. That's a price I'm paying. Yet I keep coming. Okay. Because I'm able to go to court
at
this
NDC you have never voted for.
Exactly. When I've never voted for Mahama, yet I've lost what do you call it, jobs, because I was perceived as NDC. Even where I used to work some years ago, you know what? Just a short one or the. Well, you see the same galamsey, illegal mining, etc. But that one, the government wanted to do bauxite mining in Tiwa forest, right? Then Arocha and a lot of NGOs came together and came to consult me. Long story short, we sued in court. The people I was with, they were not comfortable. They said, Martin, how can you fight government? No, we don't like such a thing. So you go to work in the morning, you don't know, you are called in, why are you suing government on a Tiwa forest? Next thing, will you drop this case? I say no. So in 1 or 2 minutes, I've lost my job. Okay, if you are not dropping the case, then there's no seat for you here. I see. Then that's it. So I lost my job. I had to just leave with my Tiwa forest brief under my armpit. That was it. So we are all sacrificing. How can you take
you lost your job because you sought to fight that attempted bauxite mining in a forest reserve.
Absolutely. Something that Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, people from all over the world, remember the Titanic, that film, etc. Activists all over the world have called on Akufo-Addo to stop. He refused. So we went to court, and we are still in court. How many years? About 6 years now, right? We are in court. So the point I'm making is that we are all sacrificing. We are all sacrificing, but you don't want to lose anything. You like to sit in the comfort of your office, enjoy everything. You see? So IG and Madam Ando Kofi, you thought you were dodging this Akunta mining case, but we are back right where we started. You have to let this case go to court. Otherwise, that's the bloat on your records that you just came into office to help politicians. That's what you're doing.
Okay. And Counsel, and I thank you. for the initial comments on this matter. And while we're let me just also acknowledge the presence of Nana Ohenento, is the special advisor to the leader of the Movement for Change, Alan Kojo Chemantin, also a former general secretary of the MPP for that matter. Nana Ohenento, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Alfred, thank you.
It's good to have you join us. And unfortunately, we had a little hitch with the connection to Honorable Andy Apiakubi, but we're getting him on the telephone. When we do get him, we'll get into it. But I want to show you some videos, and then I'll have Mr. Kofi Adams speak to what happened in Parliament this weekend and the conversation about what has to be done differently in this fight against illegal mining. Now, this is the Densu. Okay, this is the area around the Densu. When we took these videos, some parts of the area where the Densu flows through, and people depend on this water, the settlements. Yeah. And so if you see water in this state, it's brownish, polluted as it looks, people have to depend on it. In fact, let's see the Pra. Let's now go to the Pra River. This week, we went around that area to give you an idea of how the Pra River looked like. This is 10 years ago. Some chamfans were destroyed on the Pra River 10 years ago. So the Pra River has been a subject of illegal mining. This is Pra River. These chamfans destroyed sometime in 2014. The miners were busily destroying and polluting the water.
And just a comment in there, you know, the excavators, etc. The law says that they should be seized and given to the district assemblies after a conviction. That's our law. Yet this government was burning excavators. After the Frimpong Boate, 500 excavators disappeared. They've been burning excavators. Meanwhile, the law is very clear that keep them. If you get a conviction, then they are seized and then distributed to district assemblies.
I see. Now, let's take a look at Konongo. Konongo is closer to the constituency of Udombo and the Apiakubi. Konongo is in Asante Achim Central, and the Apiakubi's constituency is Asante Achim North. Konongo, this was happening just by the roadside. It wasn't deep in the forest. We understand this was supposed to be a land reclamation exercise. It led to this land destruction. And this, where this illegal mining is taking place, with about, we counted 9 excavators.
Can you imagine?
And this is just
impunity.
If you are driving by,
impunity,
and you turn your head to the right, you will see it. Let's go back to the Konongo side. And this was supposed to be a wetland.
Thank you. Wow.
A wetland, and you had as many excavators there just destroying the land. Take a look at that. And when the media put the spotlight on this, after months, these excavators were not moved there within a week. After months of destroying this place, within days they went to clear these excavators, and as we speak, to date, nobody has been arrested.
Can you imagine? Impunity. Yeah, if you don't arrest Chairman Wuntumi,
nobody
how are you
has
going
been
to arrest
arrested
these people?
as a result of this. This happened just about a month ago. This Konongo one.
That's impunity.
And this was we driving by the roadside.
Yeah.
And we
so Mr. Ocansey
capturing it by the roadside. Now the galamsey is not taking place under the cover of darkness or in the deepest part of the forest. It's just in the full glare of the public because they know.
Yes. Yeah.
So nobody is taking action.
Yes.
And nobody is going to arrest them.
Yeah. So Mr. Ocansey, can you imagine if the Chairman Wuntumi case had gone to court, the MPP's Ashanti Regional chairman is in court over galamsey. You know the chilling effect it would have had on small fries They would have said that, hey, if the chairman himself is being prosecuted for galamsey and Akunta mining, hey, who are we? They would have at least backed off because the media would have been following it every day, giving it all the traction that it deserves. And so it would have had a big chilling effect on like-minded persons. But because IG Dampare and Foster and Dokufi have sat on the complaint, you see that there's no prosecution. So you are fostering a culture of impunity for your own parochial interests. Well, you want to please politicians. And so that's how come you see the lecture Dr. Agojo gave, that later gave him so much trouble. Just that in this constitution, putting too much powers in the hands of a bad leader is bad. Well, a bad leader with this constitution will kill citizens. And that's what we are expecting, because now we are being poisoned by a bad leader who will not enforce the law. Because under Article 58, all the laws are to be implemented by what? The president. So if the president wants his regional chairman Wontumi, to continue to do illegal mining, to fund the party so that they can continue in office, this is a leader, President Kufuor, who is killing citizens for parochial interests.
You recall that when the president made the statement, he said at the time he was speaking, Akunta Mining was not engaged in illegal mining. So unless you have...
Which was an irresponsible statement, very irresponsible.
So you are speaking to that statement of they being reportedly involved in illegal mining when Abu Jinapo said there was no license given to them.
Yes.
But as we speak, we don't know what the situation is now.
Well, exactly.
Let me go on to the telephone.
Very responsible statement.
Kofi Adams, I'll come to you on this, but I want to establish something quickly. Do you know about can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
No,
I can hear you very well.
Thank you very much. Okay, now, I just showed a video of the illegal mining that was taking place in Konongo, which is in Asante Achim Central, next to your constituency, Asante Achim North. I'm sure you heard about this Konongo incident, right?
So I've heard a lot about this galamsey in the central part of Asante Achim, and I'm very displeased about what is happening. So it's very new story. And physically, I have also seen some of them in operation. We have taken some people out of my jurisdiction because of the fact that it affects one river that flows into our pumping station. That affects the whole community. We have to change them out at some point in time, although they have jurisdiction. So I'm very well aware of what is going on there.
I see. But as we speak, since you said you were troubled about it and you followed it quite closely because it was next to your doorstep in Asante Achim North, do you know if there has been any arrests as yet? Has anybody been arrested for destroying that wetland and later we being told that it was a land reclamation exercise? After over months of destruction, days later they cleared the excavators. Has anybody been arrested?
I'm not aware of because as I said before, with my
hello? No. Your line is a bit cranky. Honestly, it's breaking up. We can't hear you clearly. I don't know if you're on the move, but if you can, we'll rectify that connection and get back to Andiapi Akubi. That's Asante Achim North. I cannot hear you clearly, but we'll rectify that connection. Ms. Adams, this matter came up in Parliament during your emergency sitting, and it took a rather unfortunate turn of comparison of who has polluted or destroyed water bodies the most. Was that the best you could do as members of Parliament?
Well, thank you for the opportunity and to be here, and good morning to our viewers and to my constituents especially. And I must say that before I get to the sad note, let me commend Madame Lordina Mahama and her foundation for the great job that they have done in providing healthcare services across the country. And the current thing they did was to build an ultra-modern maternity ward and children's ward for the people of Nkranza at their polyclinic. And I must salute them for that. Whilst people in government are engaged in illegal mining and destroying our water bodies and creating all kinds of ailment for us and not building health facility to at least even take care of us when we get sick. We have someone who is not in government working so hard to continue to provide healthcare facilities for Ghanaians, because I can benefit from such a facility if I happen to be in that area. And so I join many in commending her for what it is that she is doing. Alfred, you asked a question in relation to what transpired in Parliament, and many of us on that day were so disappointed, and we all took to our we stood up to draw Mr. Speaker's attention that we needed to make a contribution, because this is not the Parliament I want to be in. This is not the Parliament I joined, and this is not the Parliament I read about, and this is not what I expect from members of Parliament who belong to the ruling party. First and foremost, whilst not admitting his statement that is what it was, it is absolutely wrong to suggest that because someone did something that was wrong, you are right if you also repeated it, but possibly in your mind at a lower level. The issue of polluting waters, especially when you are dealing with turbidity levels. If you say lawyer Martin Kpebu polluted this bottle of water and increased the turbidity level to say maybe 1,800. The 1,800 could still possibly be processed. It may not have done total destruction to the water. Then you come and say, lawyer Martin Kpebu added 1,800, and I have just added 1,005. Your 1,005 that you've added have lifted the levels from 1,800, which was manageable, to a level that can no longer be managed. So maybe you may have added less, but your addition is what has destroyed, has made this water useless. So you have a government, and the chief whip's mindset is that you polluted more than we did. But the question is, what we see today, did we see that maybe 8 years or 9 years ago? Did we see this level of destruction of our forests, of our water bodies? The answer straight away is no. But for me, the argument is not about who did more and who did less, but it is what leadership is doing. Look, in countries where leadership is working, Alfred, your own tree that you planted in your home, if you want to cut it, you need the permission of the authority to cut your own tree that you planted. Because that tree is counted as part of the contribution to the ecological balance in the area. And they know the effect of taking down the tree you planted. But in Ghana, we have leadership that decides trees they did not plant, trees that God gave us because they believe that God sleeps in the night. That even God sleeps in the night. That's the position of the MPP and its current leadership, according to Dr. Matthew Opoku Prenda, even God who created the earth for us and everything sleeps in the night, because they believe God sleeps in the night. They decide to destroy what God has given us at the blind side. But you see, you have played the voice of the president about prepared to put his job on the line, and that he said so at cabinet meetings before, and this will be that was the first time he was saying it publicly.
Yes.
How I wish the president didn't make that statement publicly.
Why is that?
Because following that statement, all his appointees and apparatchiks have worked tirelessly to deny the existence of what? Galamsey. And that they are destroying our forests and our water bodies, because they want to make us believe that the president is still having his job. And the president is having his job because there's no galamsey. So even if there was, they are trying to tell you it is not there. Because if they accept that it's there, the president's job must be on the line. So they have kept denying the fact that they have contributed to destroying our water bodies, destroying our forests. You remember when Professor Frimpong Boateng did his report and cited the fact that even the president's own home was under attack. Yeah. And he had to move some dozers and the rest to reclaim and vegetate the area.
Well, when that statement was made, the president took the media to his house.
Well, that's where I'm coming to. That is Alfred. If you read the report, he says, we took dozers, reclaim, and vegetate the place. So a place that have been reclaimed and vegetated, were you expecting to see the kind of holes that we see when we go to the normal galamsey site? The man didn't say we went there and sacked the people and left it at that. In the statement, it is captured that they took dozers there, reclaimed and vegetated the place back. So if you take the cameras there, you will see green because they have vegetated the place. But that was the evidence that they used to attack Professor Frimpong Boateng, that he was rather peddling falsehood and that nothing like that was happening. Part of the scheme to protect the president, because he's made a public statement that he is prepared to put his job on the line in fighting galamsey. And since he has failed, and stability levels have jumped from the 2000s where they could manage, or where their machines are designed to manage, to now over 14,000 NTU. Can you imagine? And for a chief whip of the ruling party to be on the floor and listening to statements being made by the Ghana Water Company, the Water Resource Commission, and many other experts, health persons, about reported cases of persons who live within some catchment area, reporting all manner of ailments. What you come to tell us is that someone polluted more than what you have done. But you see, Alfred,
well, in their defense, they say you started that line of defense on the floor of Parliament. And in
I worry a lot when I hear comments like politicians have failed. It is not like lawyer said, the politician is a microcosm of the general society. The politician is not coming from anywhere. It is leadership have failed. And for that matter, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia leadership have failed Ghana. Yeah. And let's call them out. Yes. And let's not generalize it that politicians have failed. Because even if today we put an independent person as maybe a leader somewhere, if we pick a chief somewhere and put him or her as a leader to play that role, that person could be described as a politician.
Yes.
So it is not about just generalizing and giving them comfort. When we say politicians have failed, we give comfort to this government and their persons who are polluting the waters.
But there's some truth to the fact that politicians have failed.
But there's truth to the fact that, listen, there's truth to the fact that the media in some instances also have collaborated with these persons you are describing as having failed to help in the failure. There is truth also that you have had chiefs who have collaborated with this group of politicians to also make sure that they have. That's why I'm saying that. Let's call them out. We in the NDC, and I can speak so for my party, are more than committed. We have a leader who is very committed to the fight against galamsey. He has demonstrated it in the past and will do so into the future. And so it is the Nanado Bawumia leadership that have completely failed us. Look, lands and our natural resources have invested in the president's hands. He is responsible, he is the commander-in-chief and has every opportunity to use in protecting our lands. And this whole issue of the military getting involved and failing. You see, if you send the military out there to work and you want to allow them to work, they will give you perfect results. But when you send them out there, it's like having a guard dog that you've trained so well. Then now you decide that you chain the dog and you are holding the chain. If the activity the dog is supposed to work on is happening at 200 meters, and your chain can only go as far as 50 meters, that dog cannot perform the function you expect it to perform when it is happening around the 200-meter range. What the government has done is to send these people in there and chain them, and they are holding the chain. So they are controlling how far you can go. So you are not allowed to go into an area to be able to operate. Where you go, you are supposed to go and provide protection to protect illegal miners. To the extent that you had a senior minister, and when you are described as senior minister, you are like the prime minister. You are the top of all the ministers. To tell us that there was no gain in prosecuting a galamsey kingpin, and that Ghana stood not to gain in prosecuting Aisha 1 because we were looking for something. That was the time Dr. Bawumia had gone there, that he's done some 18 billion or something from China. Where is that money?
Yes.
Where is that money? Phantom money. And we have destroyed our water bodies. That today, babies are being born with deformities at an alarming rate. People are complaining of all kinds of organ failures. Alfred, for those of us who love greens, it is now more dangerous today to eat greens and to eat fruits from some part of the country. Because you will just be taking huge levels of residue that otherwise should not be in your system into your system. In the past, you could guarantee that, okay, if it was just insecticides that have been sprayed, at a certain point, these insecticides would leave the system and you can consume those things. Today, we are talking about arsenic levels that are so high, that are in the soils, that penetrate right from the time you sow, all through till it matures. So it becomes part and parcel of the food that you are consuming. So are you surprised that many more persons today are reporting of kidney situations, and the government on top is failing to provide those services after it has done what it has done? And the worst part is that the gold and whatever other resources that are taken through this illegal process, the nation benefits nil, because 99% of this gold get exported through illegal means. And so we are losing revenue from the gold that is extracted. Our forests is being destroyed. Our water bodies is being destroyed. Our cocoa, the mainstay, has been destroyed. So today, at the level of 976,000 metric tons that was handed over to this government in 2017 when they took over, we are struggling to produce 400,000 metric tons of cocoa today because we have destroyed many of the lands, or we have blocked farmers from accessing
In fact, I'm going
land.
to show you the cocoa board. We have some graphs to show you what is happening, right? Because the impact of illegal mining has actually been identified as one of the major reasons why we are having a reduction in the cocoa production.
Exactly.
Yes, and we'll show that in a bit. And it's quite worrying, to say the least, because apart from that, the farmers themselves are selling their farmlands to these illegal miners because they ask themselves, they say, well, they are not getting so much from the cocoa. So they would rather sell to illegal miners.
Yeah.
And we have some of them on video. But this is it. Between 2021 and 2022, the production within that crop year was 683,000 metric tons. It dropped by 32% between 2022 and 2023 to 654,000 metric tons. And then dropped further 4.2% to 580,000 metric tons between the 2023-2024 crop season that we're seeing. It has been projected to drop by another 11.3% as we speak. This is when we're coming from a time when we had almost 1 million tons.
Exactly. And Alfred, it's not just the tonnage. The quality of our cocoa is now gradually being rejected. We used to get what we call the premium value. Today, we are losing that because of high levels of other contaminants that is found in our cocoa. So this government have just come to supervise and to destroy lives. Look, and that is why I argue that it is about leadership. And I agree with the earlier video you played of the former director of School of Law, that Ghanaians must act together and kick out this government because they have completely failed. Look, more than 80%.
But you cannot also claim innocence. You see, it's the politicization of this that has always been the issue.
But sir, it is not politicization. You have a situation where you have a leadership that is in charge. And over the 8-year period, the resources of the state have been vested in their hands. Amongst it is to see to it that we have clean water. Because we say water is what? Life. That's number one thing. Your body composition is usually water. Without water, all your cells will be dead. They cannot function. So even your body, every living thing has its huge composition being water. If you have a government that have sat aloof and allow this distraction to happen, if you are calling upon them to be voted out, how is this politicization? Do you want us to vote them in to continue to do what is wrong? Is that what we want? No. We want the solution. And if you look at the data, whether it is economic data, whether it is governance data, whether it is media freedom, whether it is investigative freedoms and what have you, somebody at least did better than what it is that we are having today. And so you can only recommend that someone who did better than what we have today be given the opportunity, not someone who will come, who is there and is destroying it and going around dancing and asking that, now we give you the steer and you take us further into the ditch. No, if we speak this way, we should stop saying that it is politicization of the matter. That is the solution, because leadership is part of the problem. And so selecting leadership must be part of the conversation. It must be part of the conversation. At least, I may not speak this way if I were speaking in maybe 2021. I would have pushed for government to do something. I will not speak this way if I were speaking in 2022. I will push for government to do something. But we are in 2024. Few months. 3 months into an election. We need to help Ghanaians to know that the choices they make have consequences. That tomorrow, if you don't make the right choice, you will not have water to drink. Go to some parts in Ashanti region today. There is already a water war. That people are being beaten to pulp because he has gone to take somebody's just bucket of water. Because it's becoming difficult for them to have all their water bodies have been destroyed. So they are depending now on sachet water, purified water from other parts of the region. That is where we have got into.
Well, and that is the reality that we wake up to on a daily basis, and that's why it cannot just be talk this time around, because we've been talking for far too long. We've had too many conferences, colloquiums, summits, and all sorts of things that we've done. At some point, we organized galamsey or illegal mining conference in this country.
Yeah.
Otumfuo the second spoke the truth at that conference, even though he said it, that he was being prevailed upon not to say
what he wanted to say.
That is the hypocrisy that we've been living with for quite a while now in this country. But take a look at this. This is the Pra River, the Chefo Praso Bridge. We went on that bridge. There was a drone that was flown, so you see the extent of the damage we're seeing. This is the Pra River. That's the level of pollution. For the benefit of those listening on radio, if you've ever drunk Milo, that's how it looks like.
This is worse than Milo.
It's worse, eh?
This
polluted.
Is
this Pra River, it goes all the way. And the residents living along have no choice than to, in fact, we have a video of a child drinking this, because they say they put alum in it.
It settles.
And then,
but the chemicals that have gone in don't settle.
That is what they are living with, because they don't have any other source of water. Because there are some areas Ghana water doesn't provide water to those places. So this is what they have to live on. This polluted Pra River. No, into it cannot be business as usual from where we are getting to now. Ghana Water Company says just about 40% of the water that they can actually treat and make available to us in our homes, because a number of the water bodies have been polluted. They say the less polluted river in this country is the Volta River. That's less polluted, not the
and the Oti River.
That's your area. Oti. That is the only one.
Yeah. Well, Alfred, I mean, clearly Ghana is faced with a crisis situation. And when some of us speak with a bit of passion and conviction, they say, oh, you are emotional. This is not an emotional situation we are faced with. This is absolute crisis. And I am actually at my wits' end in trying to understand how the people in government will not be ashamed, but feel proud and confident to campaign and to tell Ghanaians, vote for us to continue because we have served you well, because we did free SHS. And now, if you create a free school in the Chufuparasu area, and this is the water that the children in the Chufuparasu area have to drink, how long will they live to even benefit from the education that you've given them? It's absolute nonsense. It's absolute rubbish. Let's talk about our lives as a nation and talk about the responsibilities of leadership. And I'm happy Honorable Kofi Adams spoke about leadership and the failure of leadership. The evidence of failure of leadership in Ghana today is humongous. Every single aspect of our lives you go to open to discuss, there's a crisis. And people in MPP, people in political circles, people in political parties who want to be voted want Ghanaians to behave as if all of us are stupid and they are the wisest people. They are the people who know everything because they have political power. I don't think so. I think it's my friend Martin who said, the fact that you become a political leader doesn't suddenly make you wise.
Yeah.
And make you suddenly knowledgeable more than everybody else, simply because you have power today. So tomorrow, if you leave office, then you also become stupid, like all of us who are not in power. But really, that's not the point. Alfred, this matter of galamsey, I have said it, and I will preface my submission with that statement again. The other time, when people watched me on Union TV, they said it was too emotional.
Oh, you were perfect. It's not emotional.
Now I have tried, and I would deliberately.
Let me bring this. A philosopher once said that.
The thing just hit me. The thing just hit me.
You are corrupt. Please, there's nothing like emotional.
The thing hit me so hard, and now I want to go non-emotional. But let me repeat the same words. If MPP wins this upcoming election under the current circumstances of corruption, of galamsey, and of economic mismanagement and hardships, Ghanaians are finished. They will never respect Ghanaians anymore. They will become more and more impudent and brazen in whatever. The arrogance of power will be totally uncontrollable.
Flee.
And I am repeating it. I am not by this statement saying NDC clear obviously is the better choice. I believe we need an independent. But we are talking about the people who have their hands on the levers of power today. The other time I said the president is not a man of honor, and somebody said I had insulted him. I have not insulted him. I am saying it again. President Akufo-Addo is not a man of his word. He's not a man of his word. One. He told Alanche Martin at Legon, 2007, once I become president and I'm leaving office, I will support you, I will help you. He has done the very opposite.
Thank you.
And done everything to undermine Alanche Martin's effort, first of all, to become candidate for MPP, secondly, to become president of Ghana.
That's a conversation we can have.
No, but I'm telling you what I know. Wait, let me speak. Secondly, and the biggest one is this galamsey matter. That if I am not able to fight galamsey, I will be ready to put my presidency down. The president has failed to fight galamsey. He has failed to put his presidency down. He is not a man of his word. He is not a man of honor. This is not an insult. If you consider this an insult, well, I'm sorry about that. If anybody considers this an insult, then we are not ready to live with principles in this country. We will live with sentiments and bootlicking, and it will get us deeper into the mess that we find ourselves. If a president says, this evil of galamsey is so bad, I commit my life to it. I commit my presidency to it. Is it just a matter of just telling us words? I'll come to the substantive matter. Now, I heard this story about drip equipment, and there is a fight over them in one of the OT constituencies. Equipment that have been brought recently by the government to try and help improve rural roads. They call it District Road Improvement Project. They send a lot of bulldozers and excavators or whatever, road construction equipment. First of all, for me, it is one of the things that governments or political parties do just to insult the people. This government has been around for 8 years. 3 months to election. You send equipment to go and level out rough roads just to let the people feel that their roads are being done. My hometown, Manfitu Latte to Ayukuma, for the longest while it's been totally unmotorable. A few weeks ago, 2-3 days ago, 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, they put machines there. They are trying to, because election is coming. I'm telling you people at Latte, Nana Seduoko, you are my senior brother. I should have been sitting on that stool, but we all supported you. I am telling you, and Nana Jemfra, Latte, Ekwapim Benkum stool. Ekwapim Benkum is a divisional stool.
You should have been sitting.
Personally, I could be the chief. but I opted to go into politics.
I see.
Yes.
Anyway.
So I'm speaking directly to my brother, Nana Siduoko, and Nana Jimfra, and my compatriots in Latte and Manfi. Don't get fooled because they brought equipment to gravel, grade the road 2 months, 3 months to election. What was happening to our lives all these years? When some of our people went hard to lobby, to beg. I know how much the former GRA boss, Amishadai, tried to do. Even when he was the GRA boss and he went and lobbied, they didn't mind him. GRA boss, he goes to lobby for 5 kilometer, 7 kilometer road to his hometown to be made. Nobody minded him. Today, 2 weeks to election, 1 month to election, the latter people should vote against MPP. If you vote for MPP, it's up to you.
Okay.
Why? Why do we allow people in political power to treat us as if we are the scum of the earth when we give the power?
Excellent.
So anyway, let me come to galamsey again. I've been once to the desert in Mauritania and Libya. And as far as the eye can see, you don't see one green at all. You don't see any green. Apart from the oasis where Gaddafi took us, and the oasis where the president of Mauritania at the time took us. Once you step out of the oasis and we drove into the desert proper. Now, after you see that, when we flew back to Ghana, and I got down and I see green on the road, even if it's just ordinary bush, it feels like money. It is a feeling that I got. I said, wow. Now, God endows us with all of these resources. And today, Ghana is still considered developing, even poor, overburdened with debt. If you're overburdened with debt, you are a poor country. We are worse than HIPIC now. And we have destroyed it to the extent that a whole region, now Ghana Water has announced that as for central region, if we don't take care, there will be water crisis, if the crisis hasn't already started. And the reason, galamsey.
Well, in fact, they put out that statement, and not to interrupt you,
yes,
respectfully.
Yes.
This is how bad the situation is. I want to ask, the Chifopraso area, that water flows through to the central region.
To the beach.
This is it. This is just the summary of the Ghana Water Company statement in central region. The suitable level for the NTU, that's the nephelometric turbidity, it measures the turbidity level.
2,000 NTU.
It should have been 2,000. That's the suitable level of turbidity for them to treat the water. Now, guess what? The current level there is 14,000.
And this is just turbidity. Yes. They are not talking about the other chemicals, mercury, and all those things that is in the water.
See, if the water is clean, it doesn't mean there's not polluted.
There is not polluted.
Right.
This is just turbidity, the level of mud. Let's call it simply mud. At the chest,
over 600% more than what it should be there. 14,000 nephelometric turbidity is what they're having to deal with. Nana?
So this is the scientific and technical evidence of what is happening on the ground in one region. We don't know about what is happening in Ashanti region and the other areas, eastern region, where Densu also is a source of water for treatment to be used domestically. I mean, those who live in the western part of Accra, they know that, but for a certain arrangement that was done where there's a certain kind of a loop, where Ghana Water takes some of the water from Volta, the Volta Basin. Initially, the arrangement was that, my information was that the water from the Volta area used to serve the eastern part of Accra. And then the water from Densu would be used to serve the western part of Accra. And for the whole time, even then, people used to complain about the effects of the use of chemicals in the fishing on the Densu River. So sometimes when you cross over, my brother lives in the western part, Dansoma area. When you go to the area and you drink the water, it tastes differently from the water you drink in Cantonments, East Legon, and the rest of it. So there was an arrangement. I don't know whether engineering-wise I'm speaking the truth, but my information was that there was an arrangement where some of the water from the voter treatment is mixed with the water from the western side so that the water will be uniformed. And then the people in the West can get better quality water. Even at that time, efforts were being made to improve the quality of the water. Today, if the scientists and the technicians are telling us that the water cannot be treated anymore because of turbidity, it means that very soon, the people in Central Region, we should make arrangements to import water either from the Volta site or from abroad. Yeah, we have to find some dollars. We have to find dollars to import water. And gradually, the way the thing is going, if you don't get a government that clearly has the political will, a leader, a person, not a political party, a person, a leader who would be prepared genuinely to put his presidency on the line.
And the MPP and the NDC haven't shown that?
For me, they haven't, really. You see, because now they haven't.
It's not MPP
now,
and
it's NPP. It's MPP, NDC. Because you see, now when you take corruption, they are telling you this one is just a little more corrupt than we used to be. When you take galamsey, they pushed it beyond the limit that Kofi Adams was just saying, when we were there was galamsey, all right, there was pollution, all right, but now they've taken it to a higher level. When you take economic mismanagement...
If you listen to my statement
Kofi, can you... I heard you.
Just because you quoted me.
No.
If you listen to my statement
I wanted to interrupt you then, but I decided not to.
I said, even if I want to accept his position...
Yes.
Okay. So you are a journalist, and I was only saying, even if I want to accept... I am not admitting that he was speaking the truth.
No, but I am saying that was the case.
So then don't use me. Don't use me to validate the point you want to make.
Well, let me even move from the environmental thing. And in any case, with the environment, Kofi Adams was talking about green. This Mahama government, Savannah region, they took 50 million Ghana cedis, or so 35 million or so, to go and plant trees. I have the statistics here. Instead of 1 point something million trees, or 50 million trees, this SADA business, what happened? All the money was paid. It was still an environmental thing. It is all part of this issue. It was a huge scandal. Up to today, there was no tree. The money was paid. It is the environment. That is why I am telling you that we need a different kind of leader now, because when you take galamsey, we are in crisis. When you take economy, we are in crisis. When you take law, enforcement, governance, we are in crisis. Indiscipline, we are in crisis. Our own mindset as a people, we are in crisis. Now, you cannot talk about mindset change when the leader is not exemplifying a certain kind of change and mentality which is positive. Now, Ghanaians have gotten to the point where the politicians will talk. We'll look at them. If they talk and they'll go and do different things, we also do different things. When they come and arrest us, we'll fight the police. And we'll fight the military, and we'll kill some of them.
Well, but you see, Nana...
No, I'm telling you the attitude, the reaction. I'm just telling you, yes.
I just needed to be clear that it's not as though you are saying to as it were, condone or support.
No, but I'm telling you, that is what will happen. That is what is happening.
But it is good to say it is not right.
Of course, it is not right. But see, I am telling you something. Let's not shy away from these realities and pretend. You see, people talk about the public responsibility, and it is a very big one. But you see, if you check how democracy works by taking the power of the majority of the people and then you concentrate it in one person or a few. Once you have done that, what you have done is that you have basically surrendered the management of your life to the government, at least at the social level. Of course, psychologically, everybody is responsible for their own lives as an individual. But when consistently, just because the people have political power, which you invested in them anyways, they are showing you such impudence, such disrespect even for the law that they themselves are supposed to enforce, what are you left with? So that is the point and the perspective from which I am addressing this matter. So we have an issue where, and I don't agree with Kofi Adams that environment is not political. Environment is a political matter. In fact, the level of discussion that has made it negative is the partisan MPP NDC. But environment is a political matter. Food is a political matter. Water is a political, everything that has to do with our lives. The negativity now that we're experiencing about how to deal with these issues is the MPP NDC duopoly that has precluded all other level-headed discussions, to the extent that now we cannot even talk about food, we can't talk about health, we can't talk about road if it is not MPP NDC. That is where the danger is now. So I am sorry, but I cannot stop returning to the fact that where we are today, with galamsey, with corruption, with economic mismanagement, with the arrogance of power, Ghana needs a completely new leader. A leader people can put on the scales, dig deep into his background, and check whether this leader can be trusted. Now, Alfred, quickly, on galamsey again. Look, we are failing to realize that for as long as our economy is not able to provide jobs for young people, our economy is not supporting businesses to employ more people, for as long as our exchange rate and our interest rates are destroying businesses, it's going to be very difficult to fight not just galamsey, but all the other various ills that are plaguing our society now. So therefore, if we are serious about finding a solution to galamsey, I am saying that you need a leader who has a very clear plan. How do you salvage this economy? Not by slogans. Yesterday, somebody raised an issue about 24-hour economy and said it is one of the best things for which Mahama should be voted. And I said, so where are the details? And how? He talked about, he has spoken about one or two things. I said, look, if you take Alan Chamatin's Great Transformational Plan and you implement the clusters that he has mentioned on economy, agriculture, tourism, you probably will have a 27-hour economy or 30-hour economy. In fact, the way the thing is, you don't need to give it a slogan. Just implement something that will turn agriculture around, something that will turn industry, manufacturing around, something that will turn exports around. Immediately you've dealt with your CD dollar matter.
Okay.
Something that you can use as a basis of saying, I will remove this tax. Because you see, when you remove a certain particular tax, you are depriving government of revenue. But you have shown that as for this tax, this avenue for raising revenue is a nuisance. Let me block it. But this is the other one I'm opening. Now, when you do these things and you go and tell the farmer that please don't cut down your cocoa trees, I am bringing you a new avenue for exporting more cocoa. I will buy your cocoa at a price that makes it sensible and profitable for you to continue to farm. And you can find alternative jobs for young people. You can now tell them, get out of galamsey. Because I saw one video where a gentleman, a young man, had taken a machete to the throat of a cocoa tree.
Yeah, and
somebody was saying, "Oh, please."
We'll play that in a bit. In fact, I have that video.
I sent it to you yesterday.
Yes.
I don't know whether you got it from another source.
You actually sent it.
Yes, I sent it to you.
From you.
Yes.
We'll play it, but just make your point.
Yeah. So I thought that after someone I heard in the background speaking to this young man had spoken so much, the young man would have considered.
Yes.
He said, but the government also, you see, Alfred, that's where I'm telling you, the people are looking at the behavior of the people in power. When you have national executives, regional executives, government officials backing galamsey activities, and the people in the community, they know who they are working for. They know the people they are working for. They know the Chinese who are being backed by people in power. They know. And then you go and tell them, you stop your own. Don't cut down your cocoa tree. Stop galamsey. What is the alternative? Well, sorry. Don't worry. Government will find a way. They won't listen. They won't listen. That's what I'm saying is the danger, where we are actually moving towards a state of anarchy and chaos, where the people out of desperation will not listen to people in government who have no credibility. Okay. People in government who cannot be trusted. The people won't listen to you.
Well, that video that you made reference to, and Zadams, and the Apia Kubi is back on the telephone.
I've taken note of a number of things. My colleague.
This is the video you spoke about. Take a look. So that's the reality that we're faced with. And that's a cocoa farmer. And in fact, he's not alone in this. Remember, this a little over 2 years ago, my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar
did a story where cocoa board followed.
And just to do a quick recall, take a look at this. This is what happened in that instance.
Okay. Government can never stop galamsey in this Ghana at all, at all, at all. I have a gold, I have plenty money in my pocket, so I don't mind cocoa. Look, I'm now cutting it off, you see? It is my own bonafide property. Nobody can stop me to stop cutting my own cocoa tree. You plant it for me? Plant it for you, food and job. Am I involved?
See, eventually, Cocoa Board, after we aired this story, went to talk this farmer out of the... But he was just one out of many. A whole constituency of cocoa farmers
Alfred,
who were doing the same thing and thinking alike and selling off their farms to these illegal miners. And it's coming up every now and then. Mr. Apiakubi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
This is the threat we are faced with, because I know in your community as well, yes, you've stated here that there's no illegal mining taking place there. But the threat of it, you see it in Amenfe Central when you are driving to, in Asante Achim Central, beg your pardon, when you are driving to Asante Achim North, right? Don't you see it right before your eyes?
Well, I told you before that I see it, and I have enough evidence to convince me that galamsey is a new threat to our national life, and we must fight it without any political consideration. And what I don't like is the politicization of national issues, and the people who purport to want to indicate that they have a right beyond responsibility. I don't like that. But it must be a fight for all of us, and all of us must collectively do the building of the state. Indeed, as I told you before, when they fight. And these difficult things are taking us. You wouldn't find any galamsey side. The reason is that we all of us are together fighting it. And when leadership remains adamant, or when leadership becomes complacent, it's difficult to fight this menace. As I said, I said my MC, my chiefs, and the whole community, we are all fighting. The people who attempted to come there, we push them out. And we will do that with all our might, notwithstanding the fact that we will also increase our local security system to support us. But if you do it half and half, you will not succeed. If some of us as development partners are also partners to the menace, you can achieve results. So in our community, everybody is fighting galamsey. But I am amazed at how people will talk about it, but will not come to the ground to find the effect of it. Particularly, we have two adjoining constituencies where we have the menace and where we don't have it. And it is easy for us to learn how people have done it and replicate it in different constituencies. That is what is all happening. And that is why it's separated. So I'm suggesting that come and investigate the way to stop it, and then educate other people how to stop it also. But my brother, it is very dangerous when you see it happening. And sometimes we have a common natural resource that all of us share. So it's not happening here. You cannot sleep and say that because it's not happening here, I will not support the fight against it. Because most of the things, the ecology is there for all of us, the rivers are there for all of us, and the environment is there for all of us. So just stopping it in your jurisdiction is not enough. So I will want to support the fight everywhere that it happens, and I'm all for it. I saw a video where somebody was saying, because I don't have a job, I will not stop it. So is it enough to say that because I don't have a job, I will involve myself in robbery? The fact that you don't have a job, and I appreciate that unemployment is a problem in Ghana, but that is not also a justification for us to also engage in crime, for the system, engage in crime. You understand? So much has said.
I see. But you admit, and that was in the first statement that you made, that illegal mining and the speed at which it is happening now, it's the greatest threat to our livelihoods. Would you also agree that that's the evidence of the failed leadership in this fight against illegal mining? Because it is the greatest threat to our lives, as you have admitted right now. Hello? Hello? And the appear could be, we'll try to raise him back on the telephone. He's Member of Parliament for Asante Achim North on the ticket of the MPP. Let me just put on record, he was supposed to join us as, here in studio, but there was a development, and so he was unable to make it. But we're employing other means of having him also have his say on the issues that we're talking about. And the appear could be there. We'll try to raise him back on the telephone. But you were talking about, Ms. Adams, yes. that interaction with some cocoa, these are cocoa farmers in the OT area.
That's so. But even before I do so, I'm one person who have stated clearly and publicly so that the decision of persons like Nana Ohininto, who until he left was no mean a person in MPP. He rose to the rank of a general secretary of the party. he's worked so hard. Persons like Alan Chiremante, belatedly, who also decided to leave. Boniface Abubakar Sadiq, who was, as far as I can remember in terms of appointments, was the first to have been appointed as Minister of State at the office of the Vice President, meaning that he was much closer to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia than many other persons. The former MP for Adenta, what's his name? Yabuabia Samoa, Communication Director of MPP, and the kind of things they did for the MPP. For them to arrive at a point to say that they were leaving the MPP to pursue the agenda they are pursuing is a clear indication that Dr. Bawumia will be a disaster for this country.
Why?
Why? Because they know he will be a disaster. If Dr. Bawumia would have been a good leader, someone like Boniface, who clearly happens to hail from the north and was a Muslim, and is a Muslim, and a good one for that matter, because he was one of the first ministers to be appointed, the Zungu minister, and what have you, would have chosen to associate with Dr. Bawumia.
Okay.
But they clearly abandoned this because they know he's a failure.
Let's come back to it as we round.
Having stated this, it doesn't also mean that if they make some comments that is not in sync, it should not be appropriately corrected. But I have said again and again that it is not just a matter of documenting, but it's a matter of showing cause, showing action.
Okay.
Once I respect Alan for his decision, I think he took that decision so belatedly. Okay. And at this moment, we need a leader that has proven practically and with experience that within a matter of short time, he could deal with and solve problems. And that is John Dramani Mahama. Whether it was in the area of energy crisis, lack of educational infrastructure, health facilities, transport sector, within a short time that he had, after spending almost a year in court, look at what he did in solving our problems. Can you imagine if we give such a person opportunity again with the kind of experience he's had? But my friend said certain things. There's a difference between, just this point, there's a difference between the SADA tree planting project and what was done under Professor Kasim Kasanga during the President Kufuor era. That was what the report showed clearly, that 100% total failure, not a single tree, could be accounted for.
But then again,
no, please let me finish. I'm saying that the UDS, University of Development Studies, where the consultants for the SADA,
hold on, Alfred, hold on. So what exactly are you saying? Is it that something was done wrong?
Which was worse.
But if you had allowed, you wouldn't allow me to finish my statement and you are asking your question.
No, because
the time you are spending to ask me, and I'm saying that
responding to something he said.
Yeah. If there are factual errors, you can point it out.
So that's what I want to find out. What exactly are you pointing to?
But if you don't wait for me to learn,
wait.
How will you know what I'm speaking to?
Wait.
So I am saying the SADA tree planting project had UDS, the Natural Resources Department, as the consultants. After the project, they presented a report. The list, they put about 8 different tree species were planted, and 45 districts were involved in the 5 SADA regions. The list survival was 75%. The list, some was as high as 86% in terms of SADA tree planting project. That report is available. I don't know where Nana Oyeninto had his report that it was a total failure. And I'm saying the list was 76%.
Let me give you the figures that I got here.
Figures from where? What is your source?
Which
source? The list was 76%.
you're asking a question, so I would rather this UDS.
Even that you don't have the report also.
Yeah. No, I can share with you.
You share with me, and I should take your report, and you don't want me to share. The report.
I can share with you.
So I'm giving you the figures.
I'm only asking. I mentioned UDS consultant. So mention
the report that I have here.
Which report from which source? I mentioned my source. If you are looking for the real data, I can give it to you.
So the UDS.
This was even covered by even Ghana Web.
I'm not talking. So you see, we are talking.
But wait, listen.
Because I don't want this matter to be digressed into others.
Yes.
Is the SADA ACISCL draft report? Is what you are referring to, Ms. Adams? Ms. Adams?
Hello?
There is the SADA ACICL report.
I can't remember the title, but I'm going to share it with you.
Faculty of Renewable
and Natural Resources. Yeah, and Natural Resources. So University of Development Studies. Go to the summary. Exactly.
Report.
Go to the summary.
And I just wanted to be clear on that because that report was in December 2013.
Thank you.
I got the survey report here. I'm just
of 145 plantation sites within the 4 SADA afforestation zones, encompassing 45 political districts in 5 regions.
Yes.
Nana, is that the report you are quoting?
I think that is the. I'm just trying to check the.
So read the summary.
Yes. Now the summary is that 32.498 or so million Ghana cedis were paid for 5 million trees to be planted. At the end of the accounting, 700,000 trees were planted. Out of 5 million, the total amount of almost 34 million Ghana cedis was paid. And it was known to everybody on this matter. And I'm quoting this because it also has to do with the environment.
I am saying.
So you are talking about leaders who have the capacity and have shown that if they have the chance, they would be able, or they have shown that they will be able to protect our environment. I am saying in some areas that John Mahama was already in charge at the time, money was paid for environmental projects. The thing failed. So Alfred, how can you now convince me that if John Mahama gets the chance again, then he will be able now to deal effectively with an environmental issue as serious as that? That's where my doubts are, anyway.
Alfred, I wish that you read the report yourself for him. Only quoted monies that have been spent, but he refused, and legitimately so, to go into the survival rate, which says a total of 145 plantations were surveyed in all the 4 afforestation zones encompassing 45 political districts in 5 regions. 8 tree species were planted in the various operational zones, namely then they mention the trees. Then you go to the average percentage survival of all the planted species in the SADA plantations were very high, 85%, with the highest being 88% recorded in the eastern zone and the least being 76% in the southern zone.
Okay.
But he chose to ignore this part and was just quoting the monies that were spent. The money was spent and the value is what I'm talking to you about. All right. Not the same as Professor Kasange's 0% survival.
So you see, it's back to MPP.
No. This is not, no.
Who performed better?
Why? You are talking about tree planting that had a survival rate of 88%.
Right?
I am saying that you are talking about a planting system that had 88% with the list of 76% as a failure.
That's not what.
As a failure, 76% survival as a failure.
Kofi, okay, we are getting into certain details. That's not what I'm reading. Anyway,
there's one thing I want us to remind ourselves of.
Yes.
But I like your determination to help Ghanaians choose a right leader, which is John Dramani Mahama. That one I like. I like that.
How can it be that
I like that.
11 minutes after 9. So like
Kofi, I'm surprised.
92.7 as well as TVT Ghana on Facebook and a number of radio stations across the country. I'm going to show you, we got a video from the Ghana Water Company Limited right now. We'll put that video on the screen in a bit. This is the Techiman water supply system that has been destroyed. In fact,
Techiman. Bono.
Yes.
Bono East.
We understand it's been broken down as a result of illegal mining activities. Now, the they have to shut it down, the treatment plant, to repair it, because at some point the turbidity levels were so high that they were only taking or collecting mud. So the high levels of mud in the water that was supposed to be treated got into the treatment plant. And as a result, this treatment plant is broken down. That's this Ghana water treatment plant, which we would show you shortly. That Stanley Mante, who is Director of Communications at the Ghana Water Company Limited, sent that to me not too long ago. We're working on the telephone lines to raise him on the telephone to speak to us on it. And the Apia Kubi, we lost him as well. We'll raise him back to just finish the point that he was making on this matter. But a number of you, in fact, had a lot to share on this. Let's take a look.
I don't think so. We are not winning the fight against illegal mining. Because, I mean, most of the presidents who come in power, they promise to fight against these things, but, I mean, they themselves, they end up engaging in those things. And then recently, you hear some of the rivers, they get polluted, like River Pra.
They cannot stop it, all because they need money. It's involved money. It's all about money. So when something is involved with money, people don't care what is destroying. Because after all, if I have the money, I can buy whatever that I need. That's how it is. And then, you know, most of them that they are involved in this, mostly they don't drink from that river or they don't eat from that side. If they want to buy something, they buy from outside the region or any part of place that they want. Because on weekends, they are out of the place. So I don't think we are winning. And I don't even know when we are going to win.
The situation in Ghana, Ghana penifo no obiara ba ni bottom no hwehwe because na moto ye to bia omba be ka ba ka ne de ba hwehwe ye nsuo aye nom emunye masa emu anya popo na we nsuo ni ana moto ye to bia obiara ba ko penyi bia discussion bottom ba hwehwe nsuo na enkwasa ye pe no.
It says some persons living in some of these areas where the illegality takes place, telling us how serious the situation is. But the Techiman water supply, and I'm reading a statement that the Ghana Water Company just sent to me. The Techiman water supply system, located at Tanoso, supplies potable water to Techiman and 15 surrounding towns. The system, fraught with challenges as demand for water far exceeds the supply due to the ever-increasing population growth. The current water supply from the Tanoso water treatment plant and the existing borehole system is estimated to be a little over 4,348 cubic square day, although the current water demand is over 15,228 meters square. As a result of the current situation, what we are seeing now, and we're going to put that on the screen in a bit. This is what is happening as a result. Gentlemen, that's for the description of those listening to us on the radio. As a result of
this is water treatment plant,
where the water passes through the intake, the intake, so the intake area for it to
for
be
the
treated.
treatment.
Yep.
It's been choked
with mud.
As a result of these activities of illegal mining. This is the treatment plant area. Now, as we speak, they are having to use excavators to just be able to create that passageway because now the water. Yes,
but Alfred, before you go to the water issue, how long would it have taken for this sedimentation to take place to this level before they have to dig? I don't think this would have happened over, say, 1 month.
So this is the plant.
Yes, but this would have happened. The intake point is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
The water company itself, Now you need excavators.
They are not fetching water.
No, but I am saying that if you look at the sedimentation outside the intake point from the river or the point of intake, it would have taken some time because to accumulate so much mud.
The thing is that once the water continues to come through,
yes,
you hardly will see that there is what? So because there's already some water. So every other day it continues to go in. But it is when it reaches the level, it's like when your liver is being damaged. Even when a small portion is still functional, you may not know. You may not see certain until it completely gets to a certain point before you see, unless you go through regular tests. You go through regular tests for them to see levels of
water company could have been doing.
Well, maybe they were using eye observation.
Anyway, that's
they were doing eye observation.
That's a technical matter. It just occurred to me that look, this must have taken quite some time.
That's true.
To build up to the level where you need.
That's true.
You know, an excavator, a backhoe to dig.
That's true.
But anyway.
Well, that's the reality that we are dealing with. And in fact, that call to actually go beyond just arresting these people in the forest. Nana, and this is just a minute on this, because see, we have been arresting these people in the forest, the young people who man these excavators and chamfans. And we've failed over time to go beyond that, follow the money, to identify the real financiers of the illegal mining. So for as long as we continue to arrest these young ones, will this problem ever end?
Alfred, this matter, you see, as we spoke, it sort of came back to me. There was a time, I think around, I don't know, 2018, 2019, you know, I think, 2019, thereabouts. There was a sudden influx of excavators into Ghana. And at one point, there were so many of them parked in different locations, but this one, I located it along the N1. As you approach from Tetekwashi towards Abekala Pass. And there were so many. So my first instinct was, wow, there's going to be a major breakthrough in road construction and road improvement in this country, because first of all, these are not cheap equipment. And secondly, if you can see so many of them congregated at a point, I mean, obviously, one individual contractor couldn't have brought in so many of them. I don't know whether they were just for sale, but even if they were for sale, for one end use, I thought at that point, our attention or our alert should have been raised. Are these equipment heading for road construction? Are these equipment heading for mining? What kind of, because there were so many, and I didn't take particular note in terms of the statistics. It didn't take too long before we heard of the explosion in an already bad situation of galamsey. So the thing has built up. These equipments don't just drop from the skies. They come through the ports. National security has daily reports on everything that happens at the port. And they would have known that within a certain period, a certain number of heavy earth working machines have entered this country. If I were a national security person, I would take an interest. I don't know whether that happened. But it turns out that apparently these are some of the equipment, the excavators that have been deployed across the country for this explosion in this evil of galamsey. Now, you're talking about the arrest and the punishment of the small fries. Alfred, that's what I think I alluded to at the beginning. That when the small fries who have been sent or employed or deployed by the people who have political power and influence, and they know who their masters are, and their masters are not being touched, when you sack them from here, they will go to the other end. because the core of that evil enterprise hasn't been broken. The people who are benefiting from this very wicked, ungodly enterprise have decided not to let go. And yet they will mount the political platform and tell Ghanaians different words. These are all men and women without honor.
Okay. Well,
so please, Alfred, for as long as this enterprise is being funded and encouraged and protected by people in authority, people with political influence, people with financial influence, people who would even protect foreigners,
right,
and aid foreigners to help destroy our environment, when in their own country they dare not
do so,
touch the environment, you can't blame the small fries.
Well,
you can arrest them, it won't solve the problem.
And as we are concluding on this matter, a number of your messages, we'll get into them. This one here is from Dr. Kwame Asante says, the only reason we are not winning this so-called war against illegal mining is because the people who are supposed to lead the fight are the ones benefiting from the crime being committed. Direct. How do we expect those people to destroy the source of their wealth? You say. Thank you. This one here says, the first step, in my view, to restoring the level of destruction we have seen now is to ban all forms of small-scale mining again, because there is evidence that when this decision was taken between 2017 and 2019, our water bodies that were polluted became less polluted and forest cover protected. This is coming from Enuam Assam. I was sending us this message from Guna Nyakrom. In fact, that position of the people that proposed ban on small-scale mining, I've seen that in a statement by the Ghana Medical Association, Ghana Registered Nurses.
Yes, let me have a small bite on it.
Yes, and then also there's this one that says the Lands Minister is calling for an urgent meeting on the latest fight issue with illegal mining. It says, do we not know what the problem is? We have had several conferences on galamsey. This country, we like to talk. And just deliver speeches, nothing more than that. And you should recall what Otufo said at that meeting of these, it says persons to fight illegal mining. We have that. We'll do that quickly. This one here says the approach to dealing or fighting illegal mining has been very limited. Just arresting the people in the forest and failing to identify the real financiers is a fruitless venture, you say. And that's what Nana Oheninto was also just saying. And this is a reference is made to a statement that a friend of mine, Dr. Randy Abe, made that the level of greed we are seeing now, even Lucifer will be surprised.
Mohammed's lowest mark on corruption is a Kufuor's highest. Yes. Mohammed's lowest mark.
My problem is where we are now comparing bad and worse. And we have to make a choice. Evils. And when you have a choice in a man of integrity like
that, where's that choice?
Alan is part of the NPP problem. Alan is part of this very problem.
But who is not part of the previous problem? John Mahama or
Gentlemen,
at least, if you want to start principle, everybody is part of the problem. So compare the three of them. Who had greater authority? Who had greater authority in government? John Mahama, Bawumia, and Alajabate. Who had authority?
I'm just facing the record.
Who had greater authority?
I praise
a vice president,
a president
for
taking a belated
and a minister.
You know, I don't support
that doesn't mean that
look at what Alan was.
I'm not the one. He's the one that is defending what should not be defended in the circumstance that Martin is speaking of.
No, but Martin hasn't got a point.
No, he has a point.
He has a point. You don't have a point. He hasn't got a point.
Destroy land, forest cover,
people don't have a point.
Water bodies,
Ghanaians have a choice. Allow Ghanaians to make a very completely new choice.
Don't prevail on them.
Mr. Ocansey, I hope I get 1 minute.
Oh no, we'll get. He's the only one who has had
what would cause our leaders, both at the national and local level, to look beyond their selfish interests and pursue the greater good for once? We are all at risk. The galamsey scare is closer than we think. President is clothed with so much power to get this done if there is the intention and political will to do so. Yeah. Some have even suggested that there's so much power given to the president in our constitution, he can even determine whether says a mosquito is pregnant with twins. But yeah. I mean, that's just metaphorical. But on that bit, I just want to spend a minute on it.
Yes.
There's a proposal that there should be a consideration
he did
of
more than a minute. Why are you going to give us a minute?
Small-scale mining. Because, see, that question I asked about the people who are arrested. I went to the Tiwa forest because you mentioned that you lost your job because of the fight to preserve the Tiwa forest.
Yes.
I was in the Tiwa forest.
Yes.
I spent 2 days in that forest just to understand what was going on. I came into contact with some illegal miners in the Tiwa forest.
Yes.
As to how they found themselves in that forest reserve is another matter. But they told me something off air. But this is what I captured on camera.
Good.
Take a look.
Champagne. On the Ubianum, champagne. Yes, sir.
This is the chaff farm, which crushes the stones.
No sponsor, no sponsor. Yeah, director.
So they have a director, the financier, that illegality.
The big fishes.
So because I mean, he's one. I can't quote him on television.
Yeah.
He mentioned the name of the person to me.
So Alfred,
I was in Accra.
So let's ban the
prominent businessman. Yes.
Yes. So I support the call for the ban. Let's do it. Let's do it because at least it will get us a bit far. It looks like this time we are not letting back. I mean, we are not going back on this fight, right? So it's an onslaught all the way to the end because Ekufuado and Bawumia are going. So hopefully we'll get fresh leadership that can fight well. Fresh leadership that can fight well. Let's do it because
so the ban on small-scale mining.
I support it. I support it because you see, and not just the ban. So it's more about implementation of the ban because, like JM said, 24-hour economy. So if we put military and the police, we do 3 shifts. Can't we cover 24 hours? 8-hour shift, 8-hour shift. So we need 3 shifts. We could have prevented this galamsey ongoing. Yeah, because we have, as I've told you, Etiwa Forest is very dear to us. Look, viewers and listeners, in case you are not aware, Etiwa Forest is the headwaters for Densu, Ayensu, and Brim, right? So the water we are drinking in Accra, that's did you say the western part, whichever one, but
that goes to the western mostly.
So that water coming here, Ayensu, is from Etiwa, Densu from Etiwa, Birim, Etiwa. So, and you see so many other things, global diversity. It's such a pristine forest with so much global biodiversity that we need to protect. And yet you see how they are mining. And mining. So I can say 2 more comments. You see, Reverend Dr. Opuni Frimpong, he made a statement this week. It's quite rousing. I don't know if we can play it. He says, listen, he's willing to lead a demonstration to galvanize us to push forward. I think we should give it support. Right. Reverend Opuni Frimpong, let's do it. And also, let's see. Do you see the article by Manasseh's 4th Estate? It shows that the Ashanti MC Sampine and then Jan have a mining company.
If this demonstration you're talking about is moved by the Reverend, without his permission, I'll commit Alan Chamating and the movement.
Perfect.
To support
Perfect. So Reverend Opuni Frimpong, please, you have cited Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Please come and lead. Come and lead.
Let me just make my last comment on this.
Let me just finish reading the messages. I know. Daniel,
because it would have just been linked to what Lawyer Martin said.
Then that's going to be in 1 minute.
1 minute, yes, please.
That's going to be in 1 minute.
Oh, well, if it's 1 minute that you are giving me, I can utilize it. You see,
utilize it.
There's a saying that water is life. I've said that earlier. I've also indicated that there's another saying that when the last tree dies, the last man will die. It tells you how important the environment is to us. And that is why John Dramani Mahama has been suggesting that it is not enough to just go pick the little flies and then dump them in jail. When the financiers are there, considering the level of unemployment, once you don't deal with the financiers as you found in your report, they will continue to get more young persons who will be willing to be involved in this business of what? Galamsey. That is why he is saying that let's give amnesty to the unemployed youth who are pushed into it, deal with the financiers, and find a sustainable way of mining. Of course, I accept the fact that we must ban it first and put systems in place so people cannot go in. And in banning, we are not going to ban, and then you have government officials go to do it. And John Dramani Mahama has made that promise and commitment. What happened under the MP when even Alan and Co were still there before they left, where ministers, they sat in cabinet. Professor Frimpong Boateng presented his report. They heard it, knew that appointees were involved in this illegal thing, and they did nothing about it.
As soon as you say the John Mahama is disqualified, Baumia is disqualified.
No.
They are all disqualified, I'm telling you. They were running governments.
Professor Boateng report.
Yeah.
You have a copy.
They are all
no, I have a copy here.
And hold on, it has not been mining alone. It is important in the interest of good governance that we hold governments accountable for all the environmental damage over the period deliberately brought upon the citizenry by the actions. It says under Sir John's leadership at the Forestry Commission, Ghana, it says, witnessed the biggest deforestation from the sale of rosewood. It was a state-orchestrated deforestation exercise. Now we are faced with drought and dry spell. Daniel Banuoku. Yes, thank you very much for that message. I have to take a quick break. When we are back.
Before you are break, I mean, if you can give a little recognition.
I'll come back.
Okay.
When we're back, we'll get in the rising because there was a meeting yesterday. The NDC, that was upon the request of the NDC. A number of things happened there. Bother ahead of us. I have a couple of people. Stay with us.
Season. Enjoy the best football moments with your guy, GoTV. Get your GoTV today to enjoy all the best football live on SuperSport. GoTV.
In a place where conviction meets compassion, Heritage Christian University College stands tall, shaping futures and societies. Here, creativity isn't just a concept, it's the fuel for social change. But it's not just about entrepreneurship, it's about nurturing a spirit of service and community. We instill in our students the values of leadership and giving back. Our graduates don't just earn degrees, they embody entrepreneurship, philanthropy, ethics, and global competence. Heritage is where innovation thrives amidst a serene environment, offering unparalleled experiences. Come, be part of our journey where creativity and community unite to shape a better tomorrow. Heritage Christian University College, educating compassionate entrepreneurial leaders.
The Electoral Commission has reiterated its commitment to organizing free and fair elections this December.
How's your week treating you? I'm here to serve you great music, tidbits for your at-work listening pleasure.
Rastafari, Rastafari, Rastafari. Our Father, who art in Zion, Kanamawe, Kanamawe, Kanamawe. Oh, turn it up!
Come into the mountains, sight and I grandpa.
It's time to drive you home in style with great music, the 411 and all your favorite songs, what's happening around town, and so much more.
And in the headlines today, the two leading political parties have been addressing the public on allegations of corruption. The Black Stars coach has unveiled his squad for the upcoming games, and there are some interesting names.
Pull up! The weekend is here and it's time to turn up. Get your dancing shoots on, Lego.
We really do have it all. It's a premium mix of information and entertainment every single day on 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio.
We went to visit Dr. Kaba
Okay.
to know the full details of this condition. Yeah.
Have you heard about Samuel Akuno? The young man who's suffering from a condition that makes his head tilt backwards whenever he tries to express emotion. He is such an amazing painter. 3 young boys would also be joining us, and they are visually impaired.
I dreamed that my head has been dipped in water. The next day I woke up. I wasn't able to see again.
We welcome them onto the show to tell us their story.
The Day Show, Sundays at 3 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Cowbell Coffee, Onga.
She is battling with being single at a mature age, battling with men ghosting her.
I experienced having sex with someone in my sleep, and men that come close to me face hardships.
We are here for a purpose. Some people, they are destined just to help the men, and as soon as the men dreams comes true, and then that relationship must be shut
terminated.
Down. Love is an investment. It is the most expensive and riskiest investment on the face of the earth.
I think it's only God who stands at one place since yesterday and since tomorrow, and He allows things to happen.
Thank you.
Confessions shows this Saturday at 10 p.m. only on TV3.
This week on Ghana's Most Beautiful, Team Koki takes a bold step forward. They are tackling the tough issues, shattering barriers, and unleashing innovative solutions that empower a generation. Don't miss the fire, the passion, and the fearlessness. Join the journey as they share their stories, challenge the status quo, and empower change. Ghana's Most Beautiful, Ghana's Beauty, Africa's Pride.
GMB is sponsored by Deluxy Acrylic Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Nescafe Blood Tonic,
Frutelli Calipo,
Reflow Sanitary Pad, Vitamilk, Obuasi Bitters, Global Wings Travel and Tour,
Sankofa Natural Spices, MDS Lancet, Polytank.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you get an 8K. Get back packing so you have to come. Hey, wait.
You can put it on his tab. This is my man. Good luck.
Hey, Bill, wait here. We have star 712. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let me choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
Maybe straight to option 4. Now, you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random tickets. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
never. Tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest
The Luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. T&Cs apply.
The Ghanaian woman. She's the symbol of true passion. She has a dash of inspiration, a double of endurance. She's the comforter, the physician, and chief architect of the home. The Ghanaian woman, the image of a true African queen. The Ghanaian woman deserves honor. Watch the inspiring stories, great achievements, and challenges of outstanding women in Ghana on Ghana Women Awards Diary. The Ghana Women Awards 2024 is sponsored by Ghana Women Awards Diaries. Shows Saturdays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
Drug abuse does not only affect the individual, but also has far-reaching implications on public health. From morbidities to mortalities to increased crime rates and even strain on our healthcare systems, the repercussions are staggering.
Globally, more than 11.8 million deaths are recorded each year as a result of drug misuse. From drug addiction to self-medication, the causes are numerous.
That is why you need to join us on Ask Your Pharmacist as we serve you a buffet of expert advice on your health and personalized care with some doses of healthy living tips from our experienced pharmacists and other healthcare professionals.
So tune in to your award-winning health show, Ask Your Pharmacist, your prescription for a healthier lifestyle, every week right here on the station.
My name is Farm Nellin Ofori.
My name is Farm Dr. Yaom Fuafu.
And I am Queen Na Ayeli. Together, we bring you the season 4 of your favorite health show, Ask Your Pharmacist.
Ask Your Pharmacist Season 4 is proudly brought to you by Dragnet, the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, in partnership with the Ministry of Health and supported by
Ask Your Pharmacist shows Sunday at 1:30 p.m. on TV.
The problem with cancer is it's not like malaria. When you're bitten by mosquito for 5 days, you know you have malaria or not. The cancer will show up 10-15 years after the event. It's now getting into the food. The places that they are digging up these things, the heavy metals in the soil, if you are growing cassava, plantain, the plants are also absorbing this. So you just go and eat that, and you haven't done anything to anybody. You haven't done anything wrong. You just bought a bunch of bananas somewhere, and that's what you eat every day. And before you know it, you are sick. And then you can't find out how you got sick. Only a miracle could do this. The galamsey will kill all of us.
It is the last statement by Dr. Kweku Eni, the man you just heard there. Dr. Kweku Eni is the board chairman of the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. Says we need a miracle, or else this galamsey will kill all of us. That's the reality that we are faced with now. Welcome back from that break here on Key Point. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. We are on Beach FM W93.5, and we are on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and a number of radio stations across the country. And a number of the messages I'm getting, and good morning to Togbi Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. A number of messages are asking about some level of cost to failed promises and the fact that things cannot continue to be done the same way. And somebody just sent a message that some 4 persons have been arrested and some chamfa machines destroyed after the media started talking about the galamsey on the Pra River. This reactionary approach to this fight
4 machines
is where the hypocrisy lies. So when they were driving on the Chifu Praso Bridge every now and then, they didn't see the chamfans until the media started talking about, well, we saw the same thing in Konongo. You just drive by and you see excavators destroying lands. Until the media talks about it, then you move to go and do this picture-saving thing that gets all of us upset. This leads us to our next issue. The Electoral Commission this week addressed the press, admitting a number of things. This is Dr. Bosman Asari, who is a Deputy Commissioner in charge of corporate, that's affairs. He's joining us. In fact, let's hear from that press conference that he addressed within the week. Then we'll get to the Electoral Commission. Take a look.
This is a transparent and inclusive process that is not exclusive to the EC. Therefore, unless they can show any proof, those alleging that the Commission is trying to cook data should be ignored. As a Commission, we continue to demonstrate and reflect the values of transparency, integrity, and fairness in all our operations. We are fully mindful that the voters' register is the bedrock and foundation of an election. We are well aware that a credible voters' register is a sine qua non for a transparent, peaceful, and fair election. The Commission is committed to conducting and delivering free, fair, transparent, peaceful, credible, and inclusive elections in December 2024. We entreat the general public to support the Commission for successful general elections in 2024.
That's the Electoral Commission there asking for that support and their commitment to ensuring a free and fair and transparent election. The Deputy Commissioner at the EC in charge of corporate services, Dr. Bosman Asari. Then there was that admission that indeed there were some illegalities that had been identified after the just ended voter exhibition exercise. The NDC had raised concerns about that. The Pusiga constituency, the Electoral Commission said, as a result of some of the issues raised there, they have suspended the EC official in Pusiga for unauthorized voter transfer. Emphasis on the unauthorized voter transfer. This is Dr. Bosman Asari again. Take a look.
The voters involved in the Tamale South and Sangnerigu constituencies incident have denied taking part in a transfer exercise. What they have alluded to is that their voter ID cards were collected by one Haruna Muniru, ostensibly for the processing of a loan. Preliminary investigations by the Commission have revealed that voter transfers were indeed effected for 38 individuals, using the credentials of an Electoral Commission official. The Commission has suspended the Pusiga District Electoral Officer and has invited him to respond to the Commission's findings. And
it was not just Pusiga alone. The Ejumako Enyan Esiam constituency, and that's a constituency of the minority leader, Dr. Kesela Toforsen. The Electoral Commission also did admit to some errors committed inadvertently. Take a look.
The preparations towards the 2024 exhibition exercise, the absent voters list and the transferred voters list inadvertently included all transfers that had been done since 2020 when this register was first prepared. This has resulted in a higher than expected number of absent and transferred voters. This understandably may have caused some anxiety to our stakeholders, as exemplified by the press conference addressed by the NDC in the Ejumaku Enyan Esiam constituency of the Central Region. The Commission has corrected this anomaly and will share with all the political parties the corrected absent and transferred voters list.
Well, so that's Dr. Bosman Asari there. And Ms. Adam, this is why I bring you, because I'm talking about the NDC, raised these concerns. You've asked for a forensic audit. The Electoral Commission says, well, these issues you raised, we've identified a number of them. We have taken corrective measures, put a liveliness check in place to reassure you that some measures have been put in place. Yesterday, you requested for a meeting. The Electoral Commission granted that meeting, but that call for a forensic audit, they are not supporting that. Why do you think that's needed?
Well, once again, thank you for the opportunity, and let me say that we are dealing with a commission that is behaving as if they have just started, but the commission didn't just start. This is a commission that at least have supervised 8 elections, if we want to add the one that the interim electoral commission did in 1992, 8 elections. Right? And then we've had other by-elections and, of course, runoffs. But unfortunately, over the period since the Jim Mensah, Bosman Asari leadership assumed responsibility of our electoral commission, so much has been done to reduce the credibility of these very great institutions that Kujua Farijan, Doctor, and other persons like Charlotte Osei have led and built a credibility for. This is so because if you look at what they have done, the Constitution is fundamentally clear. If you look at Article 42, that every Ghanaian of sound mind is entitled to vote, and in doing so, that person must be registered. If you continue to Article 45E, the Electoral Commission again is mandated to undertake programs to expand access for persons to register. Unfortunately, the Jim Mensah and Bosman-led administration have worked to narrow access. When we were going to have registration, they first started by, if you didn't have a Ghana card, you would not be admitted onto the voter register. We fought and fought and fought. Finally, when the registration was over, the percentage of Ghanaians who were 18 years and above who registered and without Ghana card, who didn't have Ghana card, was around 70%. Meaning that Jim Mensah and her commissioners were working to deny 70% of those persons from having access to register and therefore a right to vote. That was the first one. We fought and cured that one. Recently, we went again for another limited registration. The same thing happened. We have opportunity to deal with some of these situations, such as when registration is going on because it's happening for maybe 2 weeks. So day one, there are problems with codes not being sent, activation codes not being sent to district registration officers for them to activate the system in order to be able to register persons. It continues into day 2, network failures, names being placed somewhere that they should not be placed. All these, we have opportunity to deal with them when they do appear and they are seen. But because repeatedly, Alfred, they have been happening in every project of the Electoral Commission under Jim Mensah and Bosman. Some have come to the conclusion that this is deliberate and it's not normal mistakes that happens.
Inadvertent errors.
I'm saying that some have come to the conclusion that these are not inadvertent errors. These are deliberate orchestrations, because for some of it to happen, you need the support of the system. Ordinarily, you and I would not have the codes of the Electoral Commission to do transfers as has happened. So it will take only someone working within the system to be able to do so. Repeatedly, we're going into registration, you did this, your estimates were poor, activation numbers didn't go, biometric devices getting missing under CCTV monitoring without you reporting on. Later on, you said it was not a BVD devices, only for persons to be picked up somewhere having those devices. We've had all these instances of every activity of the Electoral Commission, you find this situation. On the day of election, Alfred, you do not have time to come and solve these problems. Election starts from 7 a.m. and ends at 5 p.m. If you have not joined the queue as at 5 p.m., you cannot even vote. So we cannot allow, whether deliberate or inadvertent errors, to happen on that day. How do we assure ourselves that truly we have put a system in place that lawyer Martin Pebu would not register at TV3, and on the day of election, even after exhibition where he found his name in TV3, on the day of voting, when he appears in TV3, they say his name has moved to Cantonment Police Station. And therefore, after queuing and reaching his turn, he will now be told that, no, we didn't find your name here, and that go somewhere else. It is only through a forensic of the system. You were at the Lying Brigade. At the Lying Brigade, the non-performance. He was still believing that Baumia was economic whiskey until they did them the hire, and then they realized that Baumia was a disaster. He was just packaged. He was just packaged and sold.
Second guess my thinking.
No, I'm not second guessing.
Right here.
So in 2012, these issues were raised when people thought that they found certain things unclear. That was the first time Ghana Electoral Commission was embarking on a biometric voter registration. We were moving from the manual, all those systems, into a biometric. The MPP then raised issues and said they wanted an audit of the system. Kojo Afarijan doctor, knowing too well that he had nothing to hide, accepted it. The UNDP and other partners came in. The audit was done. What happened? The respect for the commission went high. Today, many years on, the same person, some of who were in civil society and some lecturers, academicians who were commenting and pushing for that to happen, now are given the opportunity to run the same commission, and one error after the other, as they want us to believe, that it's not deliberate. And the call is that let's do a forensic audit so that we can all be assured that tomorrow Nana Ohininto would not appear somewhere and they say, you are not here. Because deliberately so, persons who did not transfer their votes, we have found out that they have done transfers for them. Persons who registered in 2020 and their names were found in the 2023 and they took part in the district level elections in 2023, only for the register to be exhibited in 2024 and their names are not in. And Alfred, the worst part was that the register that was given to the NDC on the 19th of August, a day before the commencement of what? The exhibition exercise, was different in some instances from what the Electoral Commission itself took to the polling stations for exhibition.
Were different.
The data in what was given to the NDC at the headquarters as the provisional voter register on the 19th of August, in some situations was different from the register that was exhibited. How could this have happened? If what we had was the same as what they presented, you can be assured that, okay, maybe it was transposition errors that happened. But you, first and foremost, you yourself committed to giving political parties that apply for the provisional register, the register earlier. You failed. On several occasions that we asked, you failed. You kept giving dates and failing and failing. Our director of elections kept reminding and making the public aware. Only for you to give us a register few hours before commencement. Because even on the 19th, it wasn't like the morning of the 19th. It was in the afternoon of the 19th. So it is few hours to the commencement of exhibition.
But why do you want a forensic audit? That the Electoral Commission itself said they are correcting these errors. Is it that
you see,
you doubt the capacity?
They have told us they were correcting errors in the past. And the errors, as you say, that you want us to accept, they were inadvertent errors, kept repeating themselves. And it is only a forensic audit that will say that, no, this system you are using is what is leading to this disaster. Like she told us that when during the registration exercise, that they were using Corel Draw to present their daily data. When in this modern time, who uses Corel Draw to present data? So out of that information, some level of suggestions were made. It's the same vein that when we do forensic audit, we will be able to see the problems and get it corrected. But the Electoral Commission, because they have an agenda, feels like, no, we will not open our doors, we will not open our systems. Even the media presence in the deliberation, a commission that claims to be truthful, to be factual, just allow the media to sit in and hear what you are discussing with the political. After all, we are not discussing any national security matter. It is the register of Ghanaians who will qualify to vote. That is what we are going to discuss.
They said in that statement that because these matters you had raised were not new, and so having the media sit in there was not really needful.
So if the argument was that there was not enough space for media to sit in, I would have bought into it. But once there is space, allow the media to decide whether we want to follow a matter that has been raised before or not. But to shut them out that, no, we will not allow you in a system where you are supposed to be very open and transparent, is dangerous for our democracy. But let me assure the Electoral Commission that their own people, their staff, are tired of the system. They are tired of the corruption. They are tired of the unemployment. They are tired of the disrespect. They are tired of the disregard. So everything they do, they should be asking themselves, how does the NDC get the information that they get? It is because the people you are working with know that you are. So they should just focus, do what is right, organize the free, fair, and transparent elections. Let's see the back of MPP. Let John Dramani Mahama comes in and deliver the development that is needed for the good of Nano Hininto, lawyer Martin Pebu, and you, Alfred. It shouldn't matter who you are, what political party you wear, whether you are part of the great, transformation, what?
Plan. Transformational plan.
Whether you are part of that, whether you are a media person, to have your freedom. It should not be the case that if government does something, and you take government on, you lose your job. That should not happen. That never happened under John Dramani Mahama. Indeed, some media persons who took him on falsely, when they wrote their books for economic survival, he was one of the persons who bought copies of it. And they lived in this country to function and perform their trade. That is the type of leader we are looking for. And so Electoral Commission should not misbehave.
Well, 4 minutes after 10. Dr. Osai Kwapong is a Democracy and Development Fellow at the Center for Democratic Development, CDD. He's going to be joining us. But one other person that I remember I spoke to as well, who at some point also raised concerns about what the Electoral Commission was doing. But then again, you questioned the silence of the MPP. Yeah. Alhaji Haruna Mohammed is a Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. I think a couple of months ago we spoke. And there was an exercise the Electoral Commission was conducting, which they also raised concerns about. But let me find out from you. Now, I'll come to you. Alhaji, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us here on Key Point. And first off, these concerns that the NDC has raised, well, the MPP, you've not been public about it, as in declaring your concern about these issues related to some errors as identified and admitted by the Electoral Commission. Are you concerned about them?
I would like to say good morning to your child viewers, you yourself, and the panelists on the show. I have not had the time to listen extensively to the position of the MPs, i.e., the analysis that they have done vis-a-vis the data of the Electoral Commission. But I got the import of what the NDC seeks to put out. There is every legitimate reason in terms of citizenship for the NDC to raise issues regarding the register that the EPs are going to use.
Very clear.
The regulations, that is Public Elections Regulations, CI 91, and also Public Elections Regulations, CI 127, one for registration and the other for elections. Specifically, this has to do with what we call the second one, that is registration. And they've raised issues to the Electoral Commission, and they are calling for a forensic audit. Yes, they are calling for forensic audit. It's a right of a citizen of Ghana to be able to call for something that will contribute to transparency, something that will contribute to fairness, and what have you. However, you ask yourself, the call for this particular analysis or forensic audit, does it fit within the law that regulates elections in Ghana? The answer is no. So it is left with the Electoral Commission to evaluate the request that is made by them and ask themselves, what is the position of the law to deal with their request? And if you go to CI 91, Regulation 22, which has to do with compilation of provisional register, and i.e. CI 91 Regulation 23, which says under the compilation of the provisional register, we have exhibition, Regulation 23. The Commission shall cause the provisional register of voters of each polling station to be displayed for public inspection at the registration center for the period that the Commission may by notice in the Gazette specify the exhibition period. And any registered voter may inspect the provisional register of the voters to ascertain that the particulars on that voter's identification card are the same as the particulars contained in the provisional register of voters. And in case of any discrepancies, I stress, in case of any discrepancies, request the exhibition officer to make the necessary correction in the provisional register. So correction of these anomalies that they have clearly identified sits within the law of a process that is ignored by the Electoral Commission. For me and the MPP, we are all for what is right within the remit of the law that regulates elections, so that this can be done. So if you do a request outside the laws that regulate elections, you must let the Ghanaian citizen to know that the request I am making is not in tandem with the regulations of the Commission in terms of the conduct or provisions or exhibitions within the electoral system. We in the MPP have found errors before. We have gone to court, we have done an analysis of polling stations that did not have serial numbers, a pink sheet that did not have codes and all those things. When we call for forensic audit, it was a court order that requested KPMG to do a forensic audit and do an analysis of the pink sheets and report back to the court. So for me, as a party, we know that the law is there for us to use. You can go on another tangent in terms of how you look at those particular areas, but we must make sure that the law is what regulates what we do. So I can't question why the Electoral Commission has not answered to them, because I don't speak for the Electoral Commission.
Indeed, and that's why
that we focus our mind on the laws that regulate elections in Ghana.
Alaj, yes, and in fact, I don't intend to even have you ask quick questions bordering on why the EC has done one thing or the other. I'm limited myself to what the NPP has not been heard saying. You have indicated you have had issues with some data that the Electoral Commission presented and so on. We haven't heard you publicly speak about it. You say the NDC is within the law to ask for a forensic audit, but it is within their right to ask for the forensic audit, but in the current status of the law doesn't support that. But how about in the spirit of transparency, especially because of the element of trust, which is crucial in this election that we are going into, would it be wrong to have a forensic audit done so as to answer all the questions and set aside all the doubts going into this election?
This question that you asked, we as citizens have rights that is enshrined to us. We also have our own responsibilities to be able to achieve those particular rights. I cannot force the NDC of asking for such. And I must tell you that the NPP is not quiet in terms of these particular matters. You either choose to make out your point publicly, or you write to the commission, which is the appropriate procedure when it comes to dealing with election matters in this country. You can decide to demonstrate which is your right within the remit of the 1992 Constitution. You can decide to do a press conference which is within the right of you within the 1992 Constitution. However, their call is to the Electoral Commission. We, the New Patriotic Party, have our own reservations. As he's saying, they received the register, the provisional register, even before us. When we went to sign and pick our provisional register, the editor have already signed and picked their own. It means that if they have even picked late, ours were more of late than theirs. So we don't have issues with them. We have raised issues about when we are doing the registration exercise. We are supposed to know the officers and their pictures. We know their whereabouts and do an investigation and write and make request to commission as to whether this person should be able to recuse himself. We have not been able. So we believe the number of issues with the Electoral Commission when it comes to this matter. But my point here is that with regards to this particular process, I heard you asking that would the Electoral Commission doing that correction through the exhibition process. I heard the state you played by Bosman Asari also. I think you were the one speaking.
Yes.
That they made analysis of transfers which were done from 2020, which was accumulated and put into the data. And they have still made those corrections and they will submit that data to us. Why can't all of us even wait to get the data, synchronize the data, analyze it against what they have found, and to see whether those discrepancies still exist? Any attempt for us to discredit the Electoral Commission is not only tantamount to peaceful elections, but also going to the credibility of the entire country. Well, all of us have a responsibility to contribute our quota to ensuring free, fair, transparent elections. But we must do that in moderation. We must not do that by desperation.
Right, Alaji. So, to the extent that, and you also point to that admission, yes, that the Electoral Commission has admitted to the errors. But the concern is that it's become too continuous over the period. And that sends some worrying signals as well. Does that not concern you that since the exercises that the Electoral Commission has conducted over the period in the run-up to the election, there's been one error or the other, and then they will have to come back and correct it? Does that not impact on trust from where you sit?
We are the first political party to be affected by errors of the Electoral Commission. In 2012, 270 was reported as 270 errors, clerical errors, which affected the outcomes of the election. That propels us through Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to go to court. And it affected us at the end of the day. That is the ultimate, that is the presidency. So we are the first to be affected by errors by Electoral Commission, which has affected us, that produced a precedent in this country. They are raising issues now at the time of compilation, which I think is fair. They can make those particular issues. But it has affected us even at the end of the day when we lost the elections through errors. So I cannot stand and say it is justified for Electoral Commission to commit errors. It is not. Absolutely not. Some of these things must be nipped in the bud. We must take steps, the necessary steps, to make sure that errors does not exist within our electoral system. And that is why we in the MPP have always said that we are the pacesetters of democracy in this country. We have contributed enough to the electoral process, right from 1992, right to the days we wrote the stolen verdict, right to the days we made proposals to get biometric system, enhanced system, of which the NDC has constantly against these particular systems. I am happy that today these systems we are built on, and the NDC has appreciated the fact that biometric system is the way to go, and they can now use the data to be able to analyze. And thank God that today our data does not sit with a private company, where Electoral Commission has to also make a request to get the data to use, but the data is managed by us. Thankfully, I think that just recommendations to go to the new patriotic party, either in opposition or in government. We have continuously to hold the flag of Ghana in terms of electoral processes positively, I stress.
Well, Alhaji Haruna Idrisu is Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. He still
Alhaji Haruna Mohammed.
Well, Haruna Mohammed, I beg your pardon. I'm sorry. Alhaji Haruna Mohammed. Apologies for that. And he's the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. He's still with us on the telephone, by the way. He agrees. Yes, it is within your right to do so. It is a fair call by you. He and he speaks for the MPP they don't support any form of errors in the electoral roll. But then again, that call must be within the remits of the law. The forensic audit that you're asking for.
What law he was quoting. Nobody is saying that someone should go and do the voter exhibition for the Electoral Commission. It is still within the law and the right of the Electoral Commission. They are supposed to conduct the exhibition of the voter register as he claimed. We are not asking that responsibility be given to another entity to do. We are only asking that the systems that you have be audited. There be a forensic audit of how you even store your data, how you print the police station by police station data, how you do your transfers. I hear Dr. Bosman says that they have now introduced liveliness checks. But you have already done the transfers. You have done the transfers already, and we have raised this issue. Are you now going to do another transfer again? The liveliness check that you are introducing today, how is it going to solve the problems that were created during your transfer period, including you insisting then that you didn't even want agents present? Can you imagine if we didn't insist and had agents present to be collecting the data daily? How would we have been doing the comparison that we are doing now? You see, this Electoral Commission has done so much evil to this country's election process. Right. And it's reached, they've done enough. They should realize that any time they attempt, it gets leaked, it gets out, and we deal with it. They should stop and focus on doing the right thing. And I believe that if they refuse to do it at the political party IPAC level, Parliament is there. Luckily, me, I'm a member of the Committee on Independent Commissions. And the Electoral Commission is part of the institutions that we are supposed to oversight. I will be speaking to our minority leader, and the majority leader is the chair of that committee, for us to have an engagement with the Electoral Commission. Because if you listen to the majority leader speak on Tuesday, the 3rd of September, when we came, he's just speaking along the line of, oh, don't talk about the Electoral Commission, there may be problems, but we cannot massage problems when it comes to elections. Let's deal with them, let's confront them and make sure that nobody is denied the right to vote. If 10 people voted for you, 10 must count in your favor, and not 100.
Nana, so in 2012, this call for the forensic audit, there's some precedence to it, right? In 2012, you were still with the MPP, and that call was made. It was granted. UNDP supported the process, in fact, funded the process, I remember. And some external body was brought in to do that forensic audit. We've seen this series of errors. The Electoral Commission admits, makes corrections. In this instance, they've done the same. They say they're in the process of making corrections. Is that enough to secure the process, or it has also impacted on trust, which is crucial in any electoral process, such that an external body would have to take over the process of correcting the errors and not the commission that committed the errors itself?
Well, thank you, Alfred. I think this is again one of the examples of very important national issues that tend to be reduced to MPP NDC banter when there are real issues to be dealt with. On this matter, I have already commended the NDC for initiating that critical examination, because we as independent, the Electoral Commission told us that since we are independent, basically the law, they quoted the law, does not allow the Electoral Commission to recognize an independent until you have filed. Meanwhile, the key instrument for this election, which is the register, you are supposed to file your presidential nomination forms with registered voters. And you must have a way of checking. Somebody might show you their card, their EC card, electoral card, voter's card. How do you confirm that if you don't have a register? So, but that is it. But the issue is that clearly this is not a matter that is of interest only to MPP and NDC as political parties who are vying for political power. This is a matter that is of interest to every Ghanaian, even the non-voter, the young Ghanaian who is not even up to 17, 18, who is not even qualified to vote, the old invalid Ghanaians who may not be able to go and vote even by proxy. This is a matter that is of interest to everybody. So when it gets to the discussion, I think it is important for Electoral Commission to elevate the discourse to that level of national importance. Look, this matter of forensic audit. So elections get questioned by people. People refuse to accept election results because they suspected that along the line some things untoward may have happened. And so therefore electoral results are not accepted. There are disputes and societies, nations, countries descend into violence, social instability, even civil wars and so on. So if you compare the potential for disputed elections, the cost of it, as against the cost of forensic audit, which one is cheaper? To the extent that Electoral Commission does not realize that the law and everything put together, Electoral Commission is still a public institution. And I believe the Electoral Commission answers to the good people of Ghana, of course, through Parliament and the rest of it. But the Electoral Commission is also a public institution.
Indeed.
So if there are issues that are of interest to the public, from time to time, when it is convenient, the Electoral Commission issues press statements. Does it address only government or voters? It addresses the public because they recognize that they also need the goodwill and understanding and support of the people of Ghana. So if there is a precedent in the past that there has been a forensic audit before granted by the Electoral Commission and it helped to raise the credibility of their own institution, why are they averse to it at this point?
The MPP's argument is that it's not within the law.
Well, of course, that has been proved to be wrong. I mean, I think once the law doesn't debar the Electoral Commission, and once the Electoral Commission has indeed allowed that before, which I believe helped improve public confidence and the public's acceptability of whatever elections the Commission is conducting, I think it is in the interest of not just Electoral Commission, not just the NDC, not even just the MPP, and I think we need to appreciate these issues, but the interest of every Ghanaian. I think we have to understand that Electoral Commission is a public institution. Nobody wants to tamper with the law by which Electoral Commission operates, but we all have to understand and accept that the Electoral Commission eventually is accountable to the people of Ghana. Now, having said that, if, as Kofi Adam said, on the day of election, some error is detected, that error may come as a result of incompetence, as a result of injustice, as a result of mischief, as a result of a genuine mistake, whatever the cause. On the day of election, you can't do anything. So whatever ought to be done and whatever can be done ought to be done and must be done before the day of election. So if in the meantime, we have another 2 months or so, 2.5 months to go, these issues are coming up, and we as a nation have the opportunity of time to be able to address these things for the confidence level of Ghanaians to go up, for the credibility of the Electoral Commission itself to go up. I don't see why anybody would describe it as an attempt to impugn the integrity of the Electoral Commission. Now, during Charlotte Osei's time, when MPP was in opposition, the current president and top leaders of the MPP raised issues and questioned things that the Electoral Commission was doing and how they were doing it. At that time, were they impugning the integrity of the Electoral Commission, or that they were well-intentioned? I mean, sometimes when you look at this double speak, it becomes very worrying. That is why we have to do whatever it takes to give this country a completely new change that shifts us from MPP-NDC discussions that come only out of political expediency, to discussions that address what will be in the best interest of Ghana, all of our citizens, or at least majority of our citizens, in terms of our politics, in terms of elections, in terms of democracy, in terms of economic development, in terms of opportunities for us to develop ourselves as individuals and as a nation together. These things clearly have hit a level where Ghana needs a completely new direction with radical, revolutionary, not just mere piecemeal window dressing of changes. No. Because the issues we are addressing now, parties, MPP, NDC, are so deeply entrenched in their interests. So even when one side is speaking something that is objective, is a matter of principle, the other is already doubting and questioning. So it will be accepted or rejected only when parties can gauge their own immediate interests and what inures to the benefit of a political party. It is a very dangerous situation where we are now, where everything is only considered in the interest of some political parties. Now, Alfred, when you look at the errors that Electoral Commission is talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, my information is that the erroneous, quote-unquote, erroneous transfer that was done in the constituency of the minority leader was over 3,000 names.
Yes, that's what they said. They inadvertently added the previous years to...
I mean, you see, in elections, the Constitution says whoever becomes the president can win by 50% plus one. Vote. That one is not 1% too.
Plus a vote.
That 1%, that one that the Constitution talks about, 50% plus one, that one is one single vote. One single vote. The lawyers are here. Martin, if I'm wrong, correct? It's one vote. One. And a mistake takes away 3,000 or so votes to another place where by the time you run between your voting center and wherever your name might be, that is, if they're able to tell you, say, oh, we wrongly transferred your name to this other polling station. By the time you get there, you know. So these are things that we need to allow good sense to prevail. Sometimes, and I've said this several times on different occasions, on different issues, when let's even grant that the law does not allow forensic audit. Electoral Commission, by its own power, is able to do things according to discretion. And the example I give them all the time is IPAC. The Inter-Party Advisory Committee is not a statutory declaration. It's a creation of law. It's not a statutory creation. It is a creation by the discretion of the Electoral Commission.
Right.
And look at the extent to which IPAC has been useful to our electoral and democratic process. So what stops the Electoral Commission within that same spirit to say that, listen, the stakes are really high. And let me repeat, the stakes for this 2024 elections are much higher than ever before. We can discuss that at another time. But I don't think many people would argue with me. Now, if the stakes are so high, it means that we should not spare any opportunity to do what improves the transparency, the credibility, the legitimacy of the final results of this election. I will be the first person to agree that no human institution, no human activity is perfect. But we still have benchmarks that we call best practices. And every serious organization, every serious corporate entity, every serious government and nation, every serious individual positions themselves to move towards best practices. So under the circumstances, we have issues with trust and public confidence in the whole process. Now, it's having to do with that very critical instrument, the register. We want to appeal to the Electoral Commission. Please, if this is the only thing you can do to send a signal that truly the suspicions that some people may have of undue, unnecessary, in fact, probably illegal and wrong influences of the executive on the work and activities of the Electoral Commission, then Electoral Commission, please listen. Because you see, there is a lot of suspicion. They may be wrongly placed. They may be rightly placed. But what happens is that once the Electoral Commission takes certain steps, like Afarijan did, at least when he took that step, who can still go and complain about that particular issue again? He gave the chance, he gave the opportunity, he opened up, and then he sent a signal to everybody that, listen, I don't have anything to hide.
Right.
As we speak today, I don't think many people will argue with me that there's a lot of suspicion of some unholy alliance and marriage and, you know, relationship between the executive and the Electoral Commission.
Now, we say they are in bed.
You know, I mean, yeah, that metaphor. Can you imagine? So,
but does it not concern? I mean,
of course,
beyond this, that every election year, the incumbent is said to be in bed with the Electoral Commission.
The bed they are sharing will lead to a stale bed. Whatever product is formed out of that bed will lead to a stale bed.
You see, this is interesting because the point I put here is that
what are they doing on the bed?
whatever product they get from there will lead to a stale bed.
What I'm saying here is that Electoral Commission should put people's hearts and minds at rest by going a little further, by accepting to do this forensic audit and other things that might not in itself solve all the problems, other things that legitimately and rightly improve the image and the credibility of the Electoral Commission, improves people's confidence in the process, and creates the platform for acceptance of the final declaration of the results of this election. I am saying whatever suspicions people have about whether they are in a chair or in a couch or in a bed, whichever way you look at it, Electoral Commission can do something. And the power is in the hands of the Electoral Commission. Afarijan, I have said it before and I'll say it again, in my own experience. We all had our own criticisms of Afarijan, but I can tell you that in my lifetime, in my political experience as a frontline politician, Afarijan, to date, is the best that we have had because of the way he handled even tense moments between MPP and NDC at IPAC. You know, the way Afarijan will handle the issue, even when you are not happy, with his judgment, you will still accept it. And the best example I can give you, how he handled the Tyne debacle. It was exceptional. The NDC was all over. MPP was up in arms. We said declare. NDC said declare results. MPP said no, don't declare. Afarajan said let's sit around the table. We sat down. From 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Electoral Commission. NDC's team was led by Tony Lita. MPP team led by myself. And we went through the issues, argument and counter-argument. At the end of the day, Afarajan said, okay, let's work the statistics, as both of you are saying. If we did go to Tyne, this is the current results. Akufo-Addo at Tamils.
If all the voters voted...
If all the voters voted for one person, it would definitely change the results. So we must go. Everybody had no choice.
Than to agree.
We had to agree. Of course, when we went, it went in the NDC's favor. And that was about it. So some of these and other things, we have the record to guide the current leadership of the Electoral Commission. And I would have expected even something higher. And I'm still expecting something higher from my good old friend, my dear Jean Mensah, because she has been in the forefront of civil society's move for improved democratic governance and practice in this country from her IEA. We've done a lot of things very positive with her leading. So now that she is in the chair at the Electoral Commission, if anything should go wrong, I think she would be even more blamed than any previous chairperson.
Right.
Because I would say that she has such depth of experience and knowledge of the whole nitty-gritty of the processes of democratic development and multi-party at that.
Okay.
So really, Electoral Commission, if they don't have anything to hide, the stakes are so high, they are accountable to the public, I think they should agree to the forensic audit. And two, they should use their discretion. Right now, we have just a few days to the filing of nominations. Officially, they should agree to give the independents copies of the
electoral register.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. And Alhaji Haruna Mohammed, are you still on the telephone? Okay. Counsel. So, yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Alfred.
Great. To the extent that, yes, this is not explicitly stated in law, but there is precedence to it that you, the MPP, asked for it sometime in 2012. Why do you think it should not be admitted to this forensic audit call by the NDC this time around, going into this election?
Alfred, thank you. These are clear different situations that you are calling.
They are different.
The MPP, yes, they are different. We call for an audit of pinches in the courts, not
through about the KPMG.
No, I'm not talking about the KPMG issue.
We are talking about during the registration, when they did the first biometric registration.
When the first biometric registration process was done. You don't remember that you called for a forensic audit?
Maybe he doesn't know.
Well, has the EC complied with that?
Yes.
Of course.
I cannot remember unless I go back to look at it. I can't remember. I am saying that
happened.
It is within the Electoral Commission discretion to do so. But I'm pointing to the law, and I'm factual on that.
Right.
It is the EC's discretion to choose to do or not to do. And I am saying that I don't speak for the EC.
Okay.
Right? Yes. So I don't think that somebody's constitutional right to call for something is a questionable matter to another political party. No. We all have rights and responsibilities as citizens of this country.
Okay. Well, Counsel, so this is what I'm bringing in. Yes, because it's just a matter of the greater good, is it not? Because I think that the NPP's position is, yes, it's a fair call. They're not against it, but then again, the law doesn't say so. That they would rather the Electoral Commission takes up that responsibility to correct the errors they have created themselves. But that against an external body coming to correct those errors, how would that improve on the trust that we've seen diminishing over the period?
Yeah, so it's very clear that once external or let's say third parties are invited to the table to help in the process, it's going to bring up or increase the trust levels, okay? hugely, because then, you see, these are the main frontline stakeholders. Of course, the parties largely are leading citizens, right? So if they get to come to the table and they see with their own eyes everything, and, you know, they are satisfied, I mean, a lot of the tensions would go away. I don't know why this EC just insists on, you know, having a their way. You've made errors, countless errors. I mean, it dates back from 2012. You see how the general election results kept changing. Didn't they change the general election results 6 times? Is that Adams?
Yeah.
Then they changed the general election results 6 times.
Yeah.
You couldn't do common competition.
Common competition.
You couldn't do. So from day one, you've had challenges with your mass, you know, and that's basic. So if the parties ask to see, for me, I think it's within the law. It helps bridge, or it helps breed trust. So it's for me, it's a no-brainer. What do we lose? Did I see a headline saying that even UNDP is willing to help come in and help?
That's Dr. Manebuama indicated yesterday.
That the
UNDP has stated their willingness to help.
They've always
support the process.
They've always supported.
I think in 2012 they were the same organization.
What are we playing with? You see?
Finance the process.
You see? So once the financier is coming that I'm willing, what is your problem? You see, I've been telling you, see, let's not forget. You see, Ghana, oh my God. From day one, Bossman who told the students that NDC is an existential threat to Ghana's democracy. What good do you think Bossman will do for Ghana? A professor, I don't know what kind of analysis, that NDC is an existential threat to Ghana's democracy. I know.
Deputy Commissioner. He said so.
Bossman,
Before the 2020 election.
Appointed. That's the main reason they appointed him. So I know that this is a party hawk. Yeah, party hawk, die hard. The type that you see when we say 45%, you know, each of the parties has about 45%, right? That makes it 90. Then there are the 10% of us in between who change every 4 years, 8 years. So Bossman, with those kind of statements, he identifies as blue, deep blue, blue to his panties. So no matter what you do, he's blue. Crazy. And then another one. So an issue that's packed with party apparatchiki, Jim Mensah. Oh, right. So Jim Mensah, when they were appointed, I said, Jim Mensah. Jim Mensah hadn't done anything with her hands. Jim Mensah hadn't achieved any match that I am aware of. And so I don't know how she could become EC chair. And so people who haven't achieved much in private life, when you make them, they do that so that they can control them. That's the main thing. Somebody who hasn't achieved much in life, you give the person a big position so that you can control. Because after all, you yourself, you know within that, Charlie, if we were doing it according to merit, you would be the last person to be given such an appointment. So when the person hasn't achieved much, usually they are the best candidates for these sensitive jobs so that they can be moved around, very malleable. Because if we're doing, you see, in the run-up to the Charlotte Osei appointment, Gabi Ochiridaku and other persons in the MPP came up with an idea that, listen, let's the EC, the appointment, there should be an independent appointment committee for the EC appointment, like they do in Kenya. Advertise it, then people would apply. Then there will be an interview in public.
Process.
And the media will broadcast. Then there will be people marking, right? They will do the assessment, then we get the best candidate. That's what Gabi Ochiridaku and the MPP
and this
asked
is a
for.
process that exists in other countries.
Exactly. But they came, you see, 8 years, they are not interested. Just like our beloved public, the asset declaration law. You see, Ekufo-Addo, grandstanding. Ekufo-Addo, you see your life now. Last year, September, I will give you world-class asset declaration law. This is September, 1 year. We've not seen the bill. Godfrey Dami came, I'm the one working on it, 1 year. It's an IMF conditionality, asset declaration law. Say they know how they've looted.
Is it the conduct of public officers?
Yes, yes, the conduct of public officers bill.
That contains the public or the publication of the assets.
Yes, publication key. So, and you see Baumien's manifesto telling you that they intend to continue looting. His manifesto, it doesn't mention publication. No, he just said rather there will be declarations every 2 years. Who wants just declarations? Declarations that you cannot inspect, you cannot. It will not be published for people to help scrutinize. You see?
Don't worry, lawyer. Now that you have spoken about it, Baumia will promise in the next
We're
doing promise as you go. It doesn't mean what he says. The man is doing promise. He's doing promise as you go.
Yes.
So now, even though it's not explicitly stated in the CI.
Yes, I'll go for it any day. It's the easiest. This is a no-brainer. UNDP says I'll give money for it. But Masari, please, Ghana doesn't belong to you alone. You are just one citizen. You are just one citizen. You think you will keep that office after Akufo-Addo is gone? What is this? Come on, try and do something so that then you win public sympathy. Otherwise, just as the way Charlotte said was kicked out, when there's a change in government, we'll say they should kick you guys out too. Just like that. Yeah, she and
they've committed so many times. Sal is
there are enough grounds to remove them. Enough grounds to wipe all of them out after the elections. You can't continue that. We will not allow party apparatchiki to continue to be appointed to the EC. In January, this is our constitution.
So you are preaching government of national unity?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
As I've always been offered by John Dramani Mahama.
Alan Chamatin.
John Dramani Mahama
or MPP.
John Dramani Mahama offered.
No.
Please, let Council finish this point.
Council, sorry.
So,
government, national unity, because you see, like I've told you, it's just, you see, NDC, they are just the lesser of the two evils. They are just the lesser. Otherwise, NDC itself is evil.
Great. We are
making a choice between two evils.
We are great leaders.
We are great leaders. NDC is just the lesser of the two evils.
It's sad.
But otherwise, there are still the same problems, except that we've just found that when you mention press freedom, corruption, economy, democracy index, then you see that, okay, Mohammed's administration is better than Baume.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine? Mama, who is a lawyer, can perform so better than
holding on for a while.
How?
Dr. Sakwapon has been holding on for a while. Dr. Sakwapon, thank you for joining us here on Key Point. I want to find out your quick thoughts on this matter of the trust element and the issue of transparency and credibility going into the election. I want to find out your thoughts on this particular issue quickly. This element of trust, please.
To believe that the Electoral Commission has put in all the processes in place that guarantees that my vote would be treated with the sanctity that it deserves. But more than just the vote, all the processes leading up to the election has treated my vote with all of the sanctity. So my registration, my name on the voters register, etc., etc. But more than just how I as a voter is treated, part of the trust issue also has to do with other players in the elections. The most important players, your political parties. Your political parties have to go into the election believing that they have been treated fairly and impartially by the EC. As some of these issues, challenges, stories emerge, unfortunately, and in my opinion, it starts chipping away at some of the trust that is required to be reposed in the EC. And I've said this on your show and other platforms that the EC is going into this election having one of the lowest trust levels expressed in them by citizens as per findings from the Afrobarometer survey. The last one was 2022. There will be a 2024 one, so we'll be able to see over the next couple of weeks whether their trust levels have improved. But based on the most recent one, the trust level doesn't look good, and that is why for me the onus is on the EC to ensure that whatever news comes out from the Electoral Commission doesn't undermine or chip away at that trust, but rather it gives us confidence to say we can trust the process as we go going into this election.
Right, and that's crucial because, and you admit that yes, there's been that trust deficit, and you say that the EC appears to be experiencing the trust at its lowest level going into the election. Is that it?
Yes, I do agree that they are facing a huge trust deficit going into the election. That is why I've been saying that it is critically important for them in how they engage the political parties, in how they engage all of the other stakeholders, but even in how they roll out and administer their own administrative processes as part of election 2024 should be beyond reproach. Yes, mistakes do happen. I think Dr. Bosman Asari recently described an incident as an honest mistake. I'm one person who is willing to give the commission the benefit of the doubt that, yes, honest mistakes can happen. But when you are operating under a cloud of mistrust, even the most honest mistake that the ordinary person would not be willing to give you a quote-unquote a pass on what you want to describe as an honest mistake, which is why the processes, and most of the time when we talk about free and fair elections, the focus tends to be on the outcome. We tend to say someone won. Generally, did we accept the results of the election, even if a particular contestant did or did not? There is peace. Therefore, we go saying, okay, this was a free and fair election. But for me, the freeness and fairness of an election is also reflective of what happens along the way. All these administrative processes that the EC engages in are crucial in ensuring that in the end, voters will deem the election as free and fair, and also the political parties who take part in these elections.
That's important in there. And the remedial measures, essentially, is what has to be done. In 30 seconds, I'm rounding up. Nana, please.
I think the position, as has been articulated around this table and from our panelists, our participants out there, is very clear. That the Electoral Commission has trust issues to deal with. I would be surprised if they are not concerned about that. I want to believe that they, as public servants, are concerned about their own image as individual public servants and as an institution, as an organization. I think they need to be concerned about that. Now, one of the things that Alan Chematin has proposed in terms of dealing with the trust and confidence issues of public officers, especially chief executives and heads of statutory bodies, is a major constitutional amendment that removes Council of State, creates a second chamber of parliament, and gives that chamber the power to appoint Chief Justice, Electoral Commission Chairman, this, that one.
Right.
Then you can say that these are public servants who can truly be independent, autonomous, and it becomes easy for them to operate without looking over their shoulders, looking at what the executive
we have to go.
to see.
I thought you thank you. And let me just say that this morning I was clothed by Kogra Clothing. Please put your phone on silence.
Yes.
Kogra Clothing, the best version of you. Locate them on the Spintex Road, 18 Junction, opposite the Allied Oil Filling Station. The ground floor, same building with the Ghana Made store. Contact them, Kogra Clothing, on 0244 238 341, 0244 238 341, or on WhatsApp 0500 9000099. That's 0500 9000099. Kogra Clothing, choose right. And they are on social media, across all social media platforms. Kogra Clothing, C-O-L-G-R-A. That's for Kogra. Gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. Lawyer Martin Pebo, welcome back. Thank you for making the time to join us as private legal practitioner. Also, Kofi Adams, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate you. So, Member of Parliament for the Boem constituency. Also to you, Alhaji Haruna Mohammed, is the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. In fact, in the coming weeks, he'll make some time to join us in studio. Also, Andy Apiakubi, who is a member of the Asante Achim North constituency, was supposed to join us in the studio. He had some issues to deal with this morning. It's an emergency, but he joined us on the telephone. Nano Heningto, thank you so much for coming. And then also Dr. Osai Kwapong, we do appreciate your time. On behalf of the rest of the team, I want to say thank you so much for staying with us here on Key Point. Join us same time next week. My name is Alfred Ocansey. Have a great weekend.
Ago Ghana Duko, Ovao, Togbiga Adama III, Honorable Mama Ablaji Fagumashi, Somao, Togbiokla Mamao, Mani Banamikata, Miavi Makafia, Majomako Aya, Adak Banamida, Miafabodora, Aquemida Namta, Maona Yamigade. Hi everyone, I'm Peggy McAfee, Afisananu, the representative of Water Region in this year's Ghana's Most Beautiful with the stage name McAfee. I am 25 years old, an old student of College of Community Health Nursing, Biniba, a staff at 37 Military Hospital, a model and a makeup artist. I believe with you and I, coming together, we can create awareness on mental health and work towards eliminating drug abuse as a root cause, especially among the youth. With your support, prayers and votes, I believe I can retain the crown in voter region. So please don't forget to keep voting for McAfee by dialing *713*13# or through the TV3 Reality app by downloading it on Google Play Store and App Store. Akbana Mikata, thank you.
The Nairi, the overlord of the Mamprugu Kingdom, all chiefs and queen mothers in the northeast region, Namba, Mbamba, Umpuolep, Inyap, Inyayamba, Inyajam, Ninjam, Nipok, Nawumbakul Kamzak, Haba northeast Yentinang, Nangana Kul, but I have some monkey for the second. In folk na imot talk ni folk mapa. Look at how far we name is Sophia Minkia Dut, the representative of the Northeast region in this year's Ghana's Most Beautiful, with the stage name Minkia. The street children, I believe, deserve a better deal. I would like to create a society where the streets are clear of children and these children are given better opportunities to thrive and also put in measures to curb the menace of child streetism. To vote Minkia, kindly dial the short code *713*13#